It's the C-pad!
There it is. If primitive people could see this, they would think Rick was a god and we were worshiping him.
Welcome to D-pad After Dark.
It's the C-pad.
In fact, actually, the one thing that we didn't plan ahead of this thing, if someone could please turn on, plug in.
You mean the whole fucking point?
Yeah.
Why don't you dim the lights, too, for a minute?
Oh, you won't need to.
Yeah.
You will not need to.
Okay, so they would think you were a god, we were worshiping you, and that's the sun where you lived.
Let's put it this way. It'll
That's
be
the sign of our false idols.
3,
somebody's into it.
It's Jeff's butt stream.
Ooh.
Everybody.
I'll just turn these out all together.
Now
All
the
hail
whole
the
room
pad.
is lit by the.
Yeah.
Lindsay, how many times have you hit your head on that thing?
Oh, 3.
If anyone's noticing that it's higher up now than it
enough
was during the Patreon pre-show, that's because Lindsay stood up into it 3 separate times.
Yeah, I did.
And unhooked it. It is a oh wow, why is that so stretchy? What the fuck?
I don't know. You're on a delay.
You know what? We're just gonna we are on a delay. We are unfortunately because of the way that camera's hooked up. I'm just gonna leave the chat like that. Does that seem weird?
Nah.
Whoa, so now you're like
I like tall letters.
hyper-cosmic, atemporal god?
There we go.
Now
Why not?
Sure.
Sure.
That's why the letters are all stretched out.
There
Wow.
we go.
Yeah,
Can I fix
space-time
that? Is that gonna
warping around Rick as we speak?
move it over better? Oh wow, the delay is really because I'm looking at it as you guys are getting it through. There we go. Holy shit! But yeah, welcome. So to our 98th annual
Nope.
we're doing the D-pad again.
This is a 98.
Yeah, we're doing a podcast thing again.
We've
I
done
thought it
it.
was 11.
So I mean, well, this is at least our 4th. This is at
This
least
is the
our
worst I've seen you ever be with numbers. And
This
I
at
mean
least-
that with love.
This is our 5th separate podcast we've done on this date. Because we had the first one, we did the last one, we did a 5th anniversary one, and then
You started the deep.
we had the pilot 2 years ago for this, and then never came back around to it. And now we've
here
got
we
this.
are.
So number 5. For anyone out there who's not familiar, well, first of all, I'm Rick. We should introduce ourselves for
Oh
anybody
my
who's
god. Are you going down the line?
Sure.
What,
From
you
that
want to
way.
say a sentence after your name too?
Yes. I'm Rick. I'm Rick.
It's Rick's
That's a
his
sentence.
birthday? Is his birthday?
It is
Happy
also my
Happy
birthday.
Rick.
Fine. Okay. Great.
For another 95 minutes it is my birthday here
counts.
in the
So-
absolutely.
I'm John. I'm somehow still player 2 and somehow still here 11
Yeah.
years later.
We got
I am the face that trends the place, the phenomenal Kano Jaguar, and I hold the distinction of having the first ever record speed run in The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening on this channel.
8 short hours.
no, it's less than that. It was 6.5.
What's the world record?
The world record?
Oh, God. Don't even talk about
small
that.
number. A number that means that neither CJ nor I have a lot of
I've
room
come
to.
close,
That doesn't
you know.
matter.
The
Also,
D-pad.
You
I
have
didn't-
the D-pad.
I don't think I beat it by much either. It was pretty close. We
had
gotta
to
have
beat
a
it, huh?
rematch.
On the
We-
Magician's
I was
Freeze with
debating
500
bits.
seeing if you wanted to do one for this, and I'm like, wait, but last year was when did that. We're already doing Resident Evil Dead Aim again. We're doing another Kirby Superstar thing. I'm like, too many repeated things. We
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
save
yeah.
that for another day.
Sure. And we should probably do the newer one, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, that would be a good one to do. The Switch one, yeah.
Yeah, the Switch one.
That'd be pretty
So
cool.
our introductions
speed
went
run.
poorly. Who's
Yeah,
next?
No, that's all that
sweep
everyone
across.
matters.
I'll go over here. Hi, I'm Peter. I have only been on a few of these videos now, but
all the ones you've been on have been much better.
that's what they say.
Peter, aka Carnium, from the Sunday Cruise streams
Carnium.
with
Yeah,
Jeff and
I
occasionally
answer
Dave.
to either name equally
Yeah,
as a side effect of my former WoW addiction.
nice.
I'm Dave, and in theory, God, I'm still streaming Elden Ring this fucking Monday.
Oh
Hell
God,
yeah. This is great.
Excellent.
that'll
game.
be
We're great at
solid.
going down the
Actually,
line.
yeah,
Also,
do you
Rick,
wanna,
you
Jeff,
you
do you
got
want
a
to
couple
turn the camera a
donos that
little
you
bit
missed
to the
there.
right? This
Get
way,
So he has a face?
I got a couple donations
Yes.
you missed there, Mr.
just
Rick.
a teensy bit. What's that?
You got a couple donations you missed there.
Oh, I did. Yes. Thank you, Magician's Freeze.
Perfect.
I
Oh
am
my
a son of
God.
a bitch.
Too far. Now we lost.
Ooh.
Whose
Peter.
birthday it is
Magician's Freeze, I didn't
apparently.
look
And
at
then
It's
that.
again,
okay.
Peter's in the
I'm
other one.
in the larger
Yeah,
shot.
it's
You're God's
acceptable.
assistant.
Just
It's
under
him. Thank
42
you, Zim.
minutes.
Oh my God.
I will absolutely
Rick is
kill
Jupiter,
everyone
you're
who's
Mercury.
denying
It's
the
actually
Magician's
slid 100,
Freeze.
100
all
bits into your butt
peons.
crack.
Nice.
Excellent.
Linda?
Oh, I'm sorry. Does anybody want to talk over me?
Yes.
No.
You can all speak as you're speaking. If that-
You're right.
perfect,
You're
that's
just so
great.
good
I'm just
about
waiting
not
for you to
talking over
start.
everyone else. It was just
All
horrible.
right,
of us.
so that's
Great
Lindsay.
hair.
So moving on.
Yeah.
A+, beautiful hair
Close
tonight.
enough.
Really feeling it.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Lindsay.
Her hair's good.
Join my cult, not Rick's. Mine's better.
Killing it. Great hair.
It's probably
You're not
true.
as big as Rick. I don't agree.
But I have jelly beans.
That's true. I don't have jelly
Has
beans.
been-
I have
Jelly beans are fucking
fireballs.
gross.
And poorly
White
drawn
I got
pictures
a
of video game
horrifically
characters.
large bag of fireballs.
I mean, that sounds like a great thing for a cult.
that Felice,
honestly-
is all about.
Oh, atomic
love the
fireballs.
fireballs.
I thought you meant the
Honestly,
booze.
it's really easy. You
Yeah.
jelly beans and a little
Candy
picture.
and drawings.
One.
Nobody and James are both
Kindergarten.
in the Lindsay cult, but I believe that Ben is the like high priest
Yes,
of
she is.
Probably,
the
yeah, that
Lindsay
makes
cult.
Yeah.
sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Challenging.
I don't agree with this Lindsay cult.
I'm
Yeah.
in.
And
Would
you like to introduce yourself
I'm going
as
to
well?
be the Van Helsing.
Sure, I'm Jill. I'm John's
girls
blues friend.
do.
It's my first time here, and I've
Yeah.
spent a lot of my time making fun of John.
which
Booyah.
you'll fit right in, and already have for the
Yeah.
last
Very
hour or
nice.
two.
Right on. You missed some
Really
pretty
easy.
wild jackbox.
Also,
Yes.
also Jeff's over there.
Yeah, Jeff is.
Screen.
Hi everyone, I'm managing Stream Thing.
I don't think they're gonna hear you.
Right up in the
I
lens.
don't,
so
I
you're
don't
bigger than
think
Rick for a
anyone
moment.
could hear anything you said
Be
there.
rigor. Be rigor? Oh God.
Be rigger than
Just
Vic.
say it slowly.
Jeff
is
is
Say
God
it
now.
with your
Oh,
lips.
I don't
it's
know.
God and Satan. Love it.
Lindsay Cole.
It's another champed up.
Uh-oh. You guys got to
This
flip
guy
your
was that
faces
guy.
back and
Look,
forth real
CPAD
quick.
cult.
You
This
could
Oh hell yeah!
Oh my God.
Cran knows. Cran.
I've heard it's a
Cran's
good
the
thing to be a
man.
cult leader. It's a good
Cran
thing
the
I mean,
man.
it's the
I've
best
always
place
thought
in the cult to
Yeah,
be.
it's definitely better
You
than
gotta be-
any other position
You get
in
a
the
lot
cult.
of
Yeah.
money, but less sex, I think.
I mean, it depends. It depends on on the cult. I think.
There's some
I
sex
believe
cults
in you.
out
Yeah.
there.
Oh no, the
Yeah.
leaders get the most sex.
I would think that they probably would.
Oh, yeah.
But
Generally
CJ
speaking.
will
Jim
eventually
James?
kill
Oh.
me.
That
Jones?
feels
Jim
right
Jones?
to me.
As
So-
Very
the
briefly,
Van
but
Helsing of
feels
this
right.
I'm also going
Yeah,
to.
no-
I
no
thought this
sex
was great,
involved.
so I'm going to show it off real quick. My sister made me some little etched glasses
Oh, that's
for
awesome.
my
That's really
birthday.
sweet.
One that's
Oh.
like the soda beer can style, and one that's more of like a little like coffee mug kind of thing. And I'm gonna drink out of it tonight. I would have
nice.
otherwise. I have a D-pad mug that I was going to use, and then she and my dad stopped by today, and I'm like, well, now I'm gonna have to use
That's
this.
so cute.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
Yeah.
sweet.
That's
You
awesome.
could have shown off
I don't think
the
I've
merch.
ever actually like had a conversation
I
with
know.
your sister.
but the cool
I mean,
birthday present.
She doesn't visit very
definitely,
much.
wins
Like
out.
I go
Yeah.
there to visit more than anything else,
right. Well,
But yeah, actually, yeah. If anyone wants to check out the merch that we do have, dpad.fm/merch or /store. I think they both go to the.
Yeah.
One of them or neither
Everybody's
of them or
down.
both.
One or
of them.
both.
To work every day.
Buy
I would
my
appreciate
shirt,
that.
join
No,
my
because
cult.
When does Dane
Yeah.
Cook show
I like my
up?
job.
Buy the Everybody's
I wanna
Alpha
be
shirt.
I would love Jeffrey to ask about that.
Uncle Dane?
Oh no, let's not get into that.
We had a request for a Muppet.
Oh, I didn't
laugh.
even see that in the
Anyone
thing.
Muppet
Oh,
laugh?
God.
What does that mean?
We everyone
What-
Muppet
what
laugh,
means?
but-
Bath.
Well, because you
It'll
like
happen.
ran out of frame like a damn Muppet. So
Ah, yes, the little.
Oh,
Yeah.
that yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Sesame
yep.
Street
So Rick,
characters
what's
that
on
are
the
good.
agenda there?
Yeah, so I guess kind of the intro for anyone for whom this is new. We actually got started about to be today, April 3rd,
Today.
2011, as a podcast before we did anything on YouTube. We did just a weekly Sunday show. We pre-recorded it and then posted it on Sundays, and then eventually we did like a live
Did that for a
web
long
radio
time.
thing. It was
The
a
radio thing was fun.
radio thing was fun.
It was also a pain in the ass.
It was a little bit of both. I liked unregular radio before Dig Boston bought and consumed them.
Yeah.
It was much better at the more
For
laid back
sure.
studio.
Yeah. The first studio was great.
First studio was awesome. Everyone there was really great.
What was that bar that we always went to?
JJ Foley's.
JJ Foley's.
JJ
Which
Foley's.
is now a hole in the ground and a different location.
Yeah, well, JJ
damn.
Foley's is still there.
There were
But
two.
the one we went to has since been
the
demolished.
studio. The
There
studio
were two
was gone.
JJ Foley's.
and
Remember?
both studios were next to either
Yeah,
of the JJ
we moved
Foley's.
studios at one point.
Very complicated.
And it wound up being. It was like a worse part of town, but a better studio.
Yeah, this is like
Or
circa
nicer
2014.
looking studio.
Yeah.
And you just had to step into one JJ Foley's to get over to the old studio through the
Pretty
Foley
much.
portal.
It was like next door to the one in Downtown Crossing, basically. The JJ Foley's. It's right.
Yeah,
off the
JJ Foley
stop
is actually
there.
Gaelic for space-time wormhole.
Exactly.
It was
Yeah,
fantastic.
but yeah. So
that's why it's
your Gaelic has really improved.
yeah.
Thank you, JJ Foley's to
Yeah.
us all.
the first like yearish of the show was just us recording with a little Zoom H4. I still have it somewhere. A little handheld
Yeah.
recorder. At first, we literally just all talked into it, which was amazing that we survived that. And then we wound up doing stuff. Oh no, we didn't even do stuff in your studio until later. I forget.
No,
we might have literally just done
There was one thing where it was in one of my apartments where we, I think, got microphones.
We did it
before I
in
got
the
studio.
basement of Medford Street.
We did. We
Once.
also recorded
You know,
a Kirby
that's not what
Superstar.
it's called, but
some
yeah.
Kirby Superstar Let's Plays, but we.
Yes, it
That's
is.
We
that's
also
what it
did
is.
in
Sure.
Medford, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, we lived in Medford with
we
Megan
Ryan
and
Keogh
Kristen.
and
Yeah, the first episode.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we recorded part of
No,
the
the first
Sonic
episode
Let's
was
Play
in me and
the hub.
Beeble's apartment. The second episode
you're
was
right.
with
Second, yeah.
Keogh, I believe.
We moved around.
That's wild.
But yeah, after about a year and a half, we wound up. I don't know how, but we got hooked up with Unregular Radio. They were really great.
Wait, you don't know how?
I kind of don't remember how that happened.
Did I do that?
Apparently, your mic is very quiet. Still,
he's-
Did
John.
you do that? I don't know.
Holy
He's
Christ, John's
edited
quiet.
John,
thousands
I've
of
never
hours
heard that
of video.
actual feedback before. Be
He's basically eating the microphone. So
Careful what you
I
wish
don't
for.
know
mean,
if
that's-
there's more that can be
The
done.
VOD
from
will
there.
be a little
D-pad
bit better
isn't
for
it?
that.
Hi, everyone. How am I now?
Do you remember how that went down?
I don't. I assume it was you.
It definitely wasn't me.
I don't
No.
know.
Oh, you know what? It was through. Was it MagFest? The guy that we hung out with at MagFest.
It might have been.
And then
I
he
thwe
was
met
t-
him through Unregular.
Oh, I thought it was
shout
the other
out
way
to-
around. I thought we met him
Yeah.
at one of the conferences and panels, and then he hooked us up
Shout
with
out to
them.
Geek Beat Radio
Yeah.
and those guys because we wound up becoming good friends with them through. It was
Yeah.
us and them. We were the only two gaming related.
But not us
things
and
on
them in a
Unregular.
bad way.
No, it was us together
Yeah.
as
With
brothers in
them.
arms as the only gaming related material on an otherwise basically just weed focused studio. It was
Entirely weed focused.
There was a sports show that came
Never-
right after us,
Yeah.
or no, right before us, and they were like the one sports show on this
Sports
thing.
games, back to
Yeah.
weed.
Yeah, and I was like, all right. But
we
yeah,
know about
And it was
Rick's
so
audio
weird, yeah,
desync,
because
but
like we
it is
came
what it
in
is.
and like the guys before us leaving were like these like super serious sports
Yeah,
guys.
super
but then
serious
the people that came
bros,
in
and it was
after
like-
us were just like
A
there was
cloud
like
of
a
weed
cloud of
smoke.
smoke, you know, like
Yes.
came into the studio with them.
followed just the cloud followed them in, and
guys,
we're like,
if we hotbox the van hard enough, we can bring the box in.
we
with
can
us.
collect it into the. It was funny because
Yeah.
like they had rules about in the studio is like smoking was fine. Because most of the equipment was like carefully covered and all of that, but drinks were not okay.
Yep,
Because they were
sounds right.
worried
Yep.
about the equipment, and it was like,
I mean,
all right, that's fine, whatever.
that tracks.
We
I
we
feel
had
like
to,
I drank in there.
I mean, we had to ask very nicely for that to happen, and then I think
Like I have a picture of Holly like hitting it back.
We had,
in that
we had-
studio, and she's not hiding it.
No, there was Dennis? There was a day where we specifically went to the liquor store or whatever to like just grab a bunch of beers or whatever, and
Oh,
like I
probably
think
because we had Dennis with us. So
yes,
we just-
Dennis was like, we got to get beer first, and we're like, sure, all right.
That is it, man. We are reminiscing so hard,
Yeah.
and not even do our fans not know what we're talking about, but most people in this room don't really know what
Yeah,
we're talking
that's
about.
definitely true. I got
mean-
absolutely nothing on any of
No.
this.
Yeah.
I
I don't
definitely
understand what they're
recognize
talking
the
about.
name.
Zoning
Yeah, I was
out.
gonna say I got
Well,
some names.
well,
I know
I'm
those
trying to
people.
give like the
We'll
rough
scoot
history.
back,
we were
but
there. We were there
maybe
for
we
like
should
a
make
year
a video.
and a half.
You know what you should do?
Good fun.
A brief history of the D-pad.
I know. I actually wanted to do that last year for April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
A brief history
Well, you
of the
really
D-pad.
missed
I was
that
like,
again.
yeah,
too,
no
but
kidding.
We should do that though, because it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
That was the joke
Yeah.
that it never came out.
Anyway,
Yeah.
point being, they had some weird priorities. Yeah, like even
Yeah.
if he just is getting us back on track.
Eventually,
that's when we started.
Eventually,
going down that
they
hole.
got bought out by Dig Radio, Dig Boston, all of that stuff, and it kind of became a little more uptight and such, and started to. We kind of had the feeling that the vibe was shifting away from the stuff that we like to do. They were specifically like no drinks, no nothing, no like they were weird about guests coming in too. Or like, well, that's kind of the format of our show. There was
That's
not
like-
to throw drama. At this point, none of those people are associated with anything there anymore. But like there was a
None of those
mild,
people are associated with anything anymore.
they're not associated with us, and I really
know.
don't care if the guy
They're
who,
not associated with anything anymore.
Well, so there was like essentially a hostile takeover from inside. One of the 5 people who owned the company just decided, hey, my name's on everything, so I own the company. And so he kicked out the other 4 people and started just making unilateral decisions about where things were going to go. And the other 4 were like, oh, we're just fucked.
if
So everybody left.
if all the paperwork says it's your company, it's your company.
That's the thing is like he had
Oh,
just
shit,
the right
she found the
combination of
hat.
stuff. Yes. I was going to pull that out later. Nice. But yeah, so we wound up going independent.
can't take it off.
Now with John's studio over down that side of town. And that's right around the time we started doing like Zelda.
This is circa 2013, right?
Yeah, this is 2013, 2014.
Yeah, we had the big projector screen.
Yep. Started doing it out
Well,
of a
Matt doesn't
studio
add
that
up.
got boiling hot in the summer, and we literally were like worried for our health in the winter.
We had 3 space heaters and it did jack
did
shit.
nothing. Literally nothing. It
In
was a
retrospect,
miserable
that place was
experience
a
being there.
terrible deal.
I mean, yeah,
Guys,
they really didn't take very
just
good
gotta
care
put
of the
on more
space.
sweaters.
Yeah, I mean, we did. We were there with like 2 layers of like
Pass this
stuff,
to
and it
Lindsay.
wasn't enough.
Feels right.
But yeah, eventually, April 2014, we did kind of a sign-off podcast show because we were like, we're having fun doing Let's Plays and YouTube videos, and it's getting tougher and less physically fun to be in there for the podcasts. And we just
He's
kind
a
of
big bro
we
now.
signed off on that. Did a 5th anniversary podcast in 2016. We did another one of these in 2019. And
I gotta listen to some of those.
yeah, and then here we are. Or no,
It'd be
20. Was
fucking
it?
weird to
Yeah, it was
do that,
2019.
Yeah.
And,
We should do that.
And now we're
when we
here
record
again.
the video version of A Brief History of the D-Pad, we'll bust out some of the clips.
Oh, for sure.
That'll
Yeah.
be fun.
The trick
We'll go
is
down
I'm
memory
still
lane.
trying to
It'll be
collect
extremely
all of our old
masturbatory
stuff.
for the three of us, but it'll be great.
I have a handful of just
then we
random
just
smatterings of our
finish with
history
us all
of
finished.
shows, but I don't have
That's
all
the
of it, and
Patreon
I don't know if
bonus.
we'll be able to have all of it anymore.
Really?
Yeah, there's
Why?
a bunch of them that might just be gone forever. They just sites that aren't up anymore.
I thought you put them all on Spotify at one point.
Nope, they were on Blueberry, like
What the
based
Never
stuff.
even heard of that.
Blueberry is like a
Podcast
podcast like management platform kind of thing, and you can
Okay.
use it to put stuff out to iTunes and things.
Oh, okay.
Stuff might still be out there, but I don't know. I've been actively, slowly scouring for years now to try to recollect everything, but we're not there yet. But yeah, so
My
that's the
knees
really
so
long,
sore.
boring version of the history of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is not a podcast.
Do you?
Which
I
is
mean-
a stream we're doing that's resembling a podcast.
I
We
mean, no,
always
but this
do
is a
this.
It is
podcast,
podcast.
though.
We
This
always
is
just
how
talk about
podcasts are done these
ourselves on
days.
this.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
folks that'll do like
It's true. It's
a
true.
bunch of streams.
Yeah.
Usually, it'll be like a remotely done.
But like you said,
kinda
back
deal.
in our day, it was a fucking H4n and three dudes
Yeah.
in a sweaty place, and we
It's
were happy to
changed.
have it.
The format of podcasts has changed a lot. Also, just the way that streaming technology would have
Yeah.
worked back then, nobody would have been doing video podcasts in the early 2010s.
I was on a podcast
My
as a
God,
guest
ancient
like
times.
5 years ago,
Yeah.
and they literally were recording the interview segments on a phone.
Yeah. I did that. There was a point where I was a videographer for like a web-based magazine kind of deal, and we were kind of doing this. I had the H4n, and that was just all we had for audio for some of those. Like, it's wild how much the tech around this kind of stuff has changed, over the years.
We lost Dave.
Oh no, he's gone. He's
Goodbye.
gone.
He
Dave's
stepped
not
away.
ephemeral.
So what do we
He's
used
out.
to do on this
He'll return.
podcast?
So we used to talk about games and gaming news, sometimes movies and nerd.
Should we go around
culture.
real quick and be like, what's the best game you've played in the last 3 months? Super quick.
Everyone's
Sure.
gonna say
One
Zynga.
real fast
No.
one.
What's the best game you played in
Go
the last
from this
3
side.
months?
I'll be the caboose.
Do I get to start?
Yes.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Hades.
Okay.
Okay, fair.
Siege.
Have a nice death.
Ah, nice.
Ooh.
He
Laser.
was actually just saying that to you, Rick.
I hope I do.
Every time.
Laser.
I'd be down for that. Not soon, but
I mean,
Sorry for talking
Yeah.
over you,
I
Lindsay.
don't know, but I just played Donut County and I had a great time.
that is a good game.
That does not sound like a game about donuts.
It's depends on what you're considering a donut.
Seen that game?
It's cute.
It's adorable.
It's cute and short, and it's just
Yeah.
fun.
It's like a
Yeah.
reverse Katamari.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got two that are very different: Elden Ring and Crusader Kings 3.
Oh, okay. Those are very
I don't
different.
know. I don't know if anyone else ever got into the guys Paradox. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Crusader King games are just absolutely wacky.
Excellent.
Dude, Magicians, it totally does.
Just Stanley's Parable for Life. Can I point that out?
I still need
Stanley's
to. I
Parable.
embarrassingly still need to play that game. I've been
Same.
needing
Same.
to.
Please do. I will
Ever.
come here and watch you play that.
Same.
I love
No,
Stanley's
not saying
Parable.
anything. Just
Yeah, I will just watch you play it. No information.
okay.
I'm a
Deal. We got
120,
it.
Thank you.
We're good.
Friendship.
120
Perfect.
hours into Pokemon Legends Arceus, and
Oh,
that is
yeah.
definitely the most fun that I've had in the last several
Is
months.
it good?
It's not great.
We tried it and got bored really quick.
You just have bad opinions about Pokemon.
Entirely possible.
Savage but true.
I mean, if we have Pokemon Arceus and we have Elden Ring, come on, bro.
I am bored by Elden Ring.
Whoa!
Too bad it's not Pokemon
Here we
Articuno.
go.
Disagree,
Right,
comment,
Sean?
judgment.
All right,
Oh,
Vic.
man.
Judgment.
Are you all ready for my absolutely outside of everybody's box pick here?
Yes.
Excellent.
Football Manager 2021.
man.
Oh, actually,
Because
that's literally in my
Let's
box
go
right
to
now.
A giant
No more-
plane
no
and
more
catch the
microphone
same
for you.
Pokemon 30 times. Nothing exciting happens, and then let's grab a quest, rock back, and grab it again.
Spicy.
Everybody
No.
likes different
It's
things.
it's soccer, it's spreadsheets, and then when we go to games, I get to
Pokemon
watch.
Legends Arceus, to be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get to watch my little mans run
spreadsheet.
around and play footballs.
James
It's
Games,
great.
that's a really good point. Elden Ring is great, but they really need some kind of quest tracker.
Yo, try fucking
Yeah, I heard
streaming
about
it once
that.
The
a week.
game is the size of Australia. I don't know what the fuck I'm
Wait,
doing.
I
I've played-
disagree. I've had
When
quest
every
trackers.
stream ends, I fucking open a notepad document
Write
and
down
I
all
write
your-
down 10 fucking bullet points. So the
Yeah.
next week when I'm like,
But
all right,
see-
I'm
okay.
about to stream this for 6 hours and then
like
not
that.
play it again.
But if you
That's
played
such a-
play like Fallout New Vegas, and then you look at your quest tracker and you've got 30 things.
Oh, that
and
one
you're
I
like,
downloaded
great, I have
too.
to go everywhere in the
I
world.
don't disagree. I just
Awful.
wish that I could play it daily instead of having to wait a week every
Agreed
time.
and respect.
I have
Thank you.
Xbox
That's
Game
why I was
Pass.
like,
Explore
I'm gonna
everything.
do a quick extra stream, and I streamed for like 10 fucking hours straight on a Saturday. Like,
Brutal.
Fallout New Vegas was also on the list of Game
That
Pass.
is one of my favorite all-time games.
That's
I
a
played
good
it
one.
repeatedly.
I was gonna say I've never played a Fallout game. That's not strictly
Rick,
true.
Rick, I will
played.
come here and watch you play it with happy, gleeful, silent observation.
I had the misfortune, I guess, of playing. I forget if I did or Ben did. We were both together, witnessing and participating. But like an hour and a half of Fallout 4 because we were like, it's a Fallout game in Boston.
Fallout 4 is
Fuck
shit.
yeah!
Fallout 4
And
is
then-
shit. New Vegas for life.
Yeah, that's what I've more or less gotten from this. Is like 4 is shit, 3 is shit, 76 was
No,
insulting.
3 is
but
good,
New
but
Vegas
old
is
New
like,
Vegas is lovely.
bah! Like,
I will watch you play New Vegas and
Fallout
quietly
1 and
comment
2
for life.
were
I've
Teddy,
heard
I
extremely
don't
good
see a
things.
switch
Beautiful.
Fallout 1
on
and
the
2 are
Behringer
absolute
C1,
bangers, and
so
were
I don't
very
think we can figure
formative
it.
tactical
Yes, we're
RPG games
friends
for
now.
me.
I hope you
Oh,
recognize
man,
that.
wait, let's-
100%. Yes. I love Fallout.
Oh God. Oh Jesus.
Yeah, we found out Rick actually had Game Pass for a while, and was
I have
never
Xbox
using
Live
it.
Gold, and I guess Game Pass is kind of
Everyone
like
hates Fallout 4.
packaged
It's
into
shit.
that. Yeah, I didn't love Fallout 4,
Fallout
and then I was
4
double bummed by the fact that our apartment was like literally just barely outside the furthest
Fallout
bound of the
4
map, and I'm like,
Oh, that's
No,
Really?
sad.
I really wanted to
Fallout
just be like,
4
here's the
is,
crater.
Hey, we took the
Yeah.
concept of a Fallout game, we threw it into a game, we made it an action game. It is
yeah,
New Vegas.
yeah.
Create your character, give him no intelligence, to have him have weird conversations.
Just have them have
It's
weird
great.
shit.
It's delightful.
I've heard that whatever trait it is that makes luck just spike at random is like the funniest way to play.
Yes.
Because just
100%.
everything goes wrong on both sides constantly.
I only played for a couple hours, but I did max out my luck and said, this is fine.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh my god.
The Final Biscuit. Play it. Play it. You won't regret it. Play it.
Sitting around and played my well, yeah, it was on. I downloaded Halo 2 for later in the 24-hour stream, and I was just like, I got Game Pass, and this stuff is free. Mass Effect Collection, Tunic. Oh look, Fallout New Vegas, and I was like, I'm just gonna
Effect is so
download a bunch
good,
of shit I will
too.
never have time to play, but I will try.
Rick,
But
Mass
now you
Effect,
have
me and you.
a bunch of
I
space.
loved Mass Effect 1. I really enjoyed it.
It's beautiful.
That's being
And I've
taken out.
heard to just kind of pretend the last bit of the last game, just tune out for a while and don't think or feel or anything, and it's just better that way.
Sit down
Sabian
your
likes
heart, play it.
Tunic, huh?
I've heard
intrigued.
extremely good things about Tunic. Tunic is
intrigued.
winning like a shitload of Game Awards
it
right
looked
now.
really cute. I
Okay.
only saw like a brief
Very
little
Zelda
video, but
inspired.
yeah.
It's free
Yeah.
on Game Pass right now?
Yes, yep,
Oh yeah,
I downloaded
it's like
that
very
one.
obviously Zelda.
Hell yeah,
inspired.
respectable
It's
Oh, yeah.
called
fool.
Tunic.
The
Fallout
outfit
2
is
for
literally
life.
just
You can't
a
make a game
green
called Tunic
tunic.
and not get Zelda.
I mean, it's a little fox with a green tunic.
Guys,
It's like, yeah.
I love it.
Do I want
Serious old school gaming
to
here.
play Blasphemous?
What?
I don't know. I don't know anything about
It
it.
is, okay, yes.
He's respectable
you?
fool.
Yes.
That's
Hell
him.
yeah.
So
It's on
My
sale,
Steam
so
account
I've been
is
looking at it for a
beautiful.
while. Okay.
It's all Fallout.
I mean, that's an
It's not all
opinionated.
Fallout. I have thousands of hours on things. I played video games competitively.
Nice.
John's
Oh,
cool,
nice.
but let's be honest, video games. More seriously.
I'm sorry, who does all the work in Elden Ring?
I just-
Pretty sure I
just
played video games
occasionally-
competitively for years and was very good at it.
I occasionally look at my Steam account, and then I scroll down, and I look at something like Civilization, and I'm like, that's fluency in Spanish. And like, then I scroll down, and I start to hit the MMOs, and I just have to Alt F for it.
Yep.
Like,
It's like,
I
oop,
don't love
time's
them.
up.
Wait,
the
Steve,
amount of hours
you've
that
heard
have been
Tunic
invested.
called Cozy Souls? That's the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
All right.
Okay, I
Down
want
for
it.
that.
Souls,
We're gonna buy
Cozy
Tunic.
Souls.
That
Yeah.
sounds lovable as hell.
Tunic is very, very
We'll do
good.
that. We'll play
Been
it.
in dev for years and years. It has so much Polish.
You've absolutely convinced us.
No, it's got like a
Yeah, I got there. Yeah,
a
cool.
butcher
Just
that's
double-checking for
prepping
you.
some good ham. in
Loves
there.
full of pierogies.
Oh, Golumkies.
What is my game? It's the game that I've been playing the most in the last like 3 months.
Best game you've
That's
played.
one
in
that
a
I
long
the
enjoyed
time.
best
the
game that I've
most.
played in the last
That's
3 months.
Light.
YouTube
Light.
Studio
What is spelled close
Manager.
to your heart?
Yeah, does YouTube Studio
2022?
count? If there's a gaming tag
No,
on
that's
it?
not a game. It's
No.
not fun. It's ruined your
Premiere,
life.
editing.
I'm honestly
Yeah,
trying to
right.
think outside of the channel too of like what I've even touched in the last couple of months. Like I played a little bit of Dragon Quest Builders, but that was more than 3 months
You
ago.
played Elden
Was it
Ring?
fun?
I've not played Elden Ring. I played Dark Souls, and I
Right.
don't know if I've got.
not
I don't know if I have.
Both Rick and I are anti-zeitgeist.
I'm just I am a little bit
Because zeitgeist.
sometimes.
So beautiful.
It took me a long time to get into Undertale
zeitgeist?
because I was so annoyed by the fan base, and I'm like,
That happened to me. I still
That's
won't touch
it is.
understandable.
Now that I have played it, it is. I hesitate to say.
I don't play
I hesitate to say it's like it
Oh, okay.
beats
Yeah, I
the
guess
hype
I'm in that
like the
camp,
hype
too.
is
I have
all
not played
warped and
Elden Ring.
weird.
I'm his scout. I
Like-
find him the
Nor have I.
coolest locations.
Gotta
and
wait
tag
till-
them and he plays.
Like I said,
gonna
I've,
talk.
I've just been playing Have a Nice Death for like the last month, which is, I love roguelikes because you can just mindlessly play them.
Yeah.
Put them down when you're bored, and every time you start, you're just in the same spot again.
That's why Hades is great. It's like 30 minutes.
What's
I
your
got a
favorite
session.
roguelike?
and
Yeah,
I
I
can
know
stop.
I know you keep pushing Hades on.
I will
me.
say,
I'm not pushing it on you. I'm just saying
Binding
I'm
of
agreeing with you about
Binding of
roguelike.
Isaac. Yeah,
Yes.
that one's
That's a
great.
fun one.
Quick, found it. Founding by
Yeah,
Isaac.
I will say Kirby Blow Up Blast was a surprising little gem.
It was actually really fun.
Legitimately fun.
We actually had such a good time.
Yeah, way better game than I was expecting from a little spin-off download title. As far as like
Sounds
bigger
so
games, I liked. Oh no, now I'm gonna Everhood. Everhood is pretty good.
Oh yeah, that looked like it was a ton of
It was a
fun.
weird.
Look
It's
at
kind of
Evil
like an
Hippie's on your
inversion
side.
on some of the stuff that Undertale is all about.
Evil Hippie
but
knows it.
It's
So good.
oh jeez. Oh,
Don't turn and look at me.
Evil Hippie,
Remember,
who did
we
your
I'm
talked
now
about
realizing
this.
why
in
I'm
Hades.
why I'm probably desynced on here because I had settings that I probably didn't also apply to this. That's fun.
Oh,
Now you're.
Rick, did you play Hades?
I have not played Hades. Sarah's played Hades.
Sarah played
That's
the
a
shit
good one.
out
I
of
would
it.
love you to play it, and I'd
Yeah.
like to know who you choose to romance when you do so. Very
Okay.
curious.
Spoilers.
Oh no, I'm not. I have the same thing there too.
Obviously, do so.
Thank
Come on.
you.
Duh.
Yes, 100%.
I
Duh.
duh.
John's a Meg kind of guy.
Yeah,
Well,
that
you
makes
got to be
sense.
careful how you say that on the Megara.
Megara.
No,
No.
that's really funny, and we're keeping it
Oh,
that way.
hilarious.
Yeah, my ex-girlfriend.
Oh yeah,
of 8
I liked
years, Meg.
Hercules too. That was a
We
great
talked
movie.
about her.
Cool.
Oh,
Excellent.
Sorry.
Yep.
did we call her Meg?
I mean,
Yeah.
I usually did, but like,
Yeah.
Do so for
anyway,
life.
anyway.
Sorry,
Do
man.
so.
That's what Lindsay was.
Yeah, I don't know.
cackling about.
I don't want to.
YouTube channels come with baggage.
The funniest thing I've ever heard.
No, really, it's just me. John comes.
John comes with baggage and a YouTube channel.
Nar. She never made it on the deep
Cool, I'm
end.
divorced, but cool.
Nar. We're all
I don't know.
divorced in one way or another.
Yeah.
From our sanity.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Yeah, made
say
Deuce
that.
took me a
let's
long ass time.
let's continue. We've been on side.
Yeah.
things
So,
for a
are there
while.
any old segments that you used to have on the show?
There
that-
are, as a matter of fact, there's one in particular that I thought would be really good to bring back for this. It's one of the classics. It's good to be mentioned on regular radio because it began there.
Is it Ouya Oh No?
Well, maybe it is. I don't know.
Spoiler.
I spoiled it.
You slightly spoiled it. It's
Trying to
we
give
had
a whole
an old
build-up
segment
here.
We used to do every
a really
week.
long
There'd be
time.
news about the Ouya console's flagship title. You might have heard of it. It's called the Ouya. And that segment usually involved some not so great news because it was a huge fucking dumpster fire from start to finish.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But and as a matter of fact, for our Ouya Oh No segment, we do have some news about Razer's Ouya.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It doesn't exist anymore and everything's been shut down.
Oh yeah.
Although you can still install Android APKs into an Ouya,
Oh yeah.
but no one wants to because it's a fucking Ouya.
Oh no.
So yeah. Julie Urman, wherever you are, I really hope you're not in charge of any business decisions at any companies ever.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
yeah.
a real burn there.
No, that's it. There's no oh no.
Oh no.
No. Yeah. So Ouya Oh No.
All right, well that's a no-no. What else you got for our old segments?
I think that's it for the old segments. I don't know if
that was
there's a-
really the only one that had.
that was
any
really the
staying
only
power.
one. Yeah, we kind of fluctuated.
We
on
kind
those over
of
the
basically
years.
made all of our money off of trashing the Ouya.
Yeah. There was a lot to
All
trash.
$4.
It was truly. It was originally started off as a joke that I figured we'd do once or twice, and then literally every week there'd be something in my. I usually wrote down notes every week of like, oh, this would be fun to talk about. This would be fun to talk about. Every week for months on end, there was something about the Ouya.
Yeah, I mean, it just
Another
happened-
random news story about
Yeah.
the fucking Ouya.
I guess our radio show just perfectly coincided with the life cycle of
It
the
did
Ouya.
because the first episode of the live show was like the first week that had real interesting news about the Ouya, and then the day we stopped, it was the day they announced that they were shutting down Ouya 2. Like they were originally going to do a new one each year. and they were
Ouya?
like, yeah, new yeah.
You were the
Tuya.
only
Tuya.
thing giving them hope, and you abandoned them in their darkest hour. Ray.
And then not
they
only
had to
Tuna.
shut it down.
Not only did they eventually get bought out by Razer, Razer had no interest in developing on it. They just wanted to grab some of the cash while it was on its way out. And then,
Of course.
Weird.
2 years ago, like summer 2020, they shut down the servers, so you couldn't even download new games.
Oh no.
They had already shut down the card system, so you couldn't buy new games for much longer before that.
Oh yeah.
And we had our Ouya Oh No series of videos.
I mean,
Just to see how they did. We had a couple of the developers of those games have actually reached out to us.
Oh,
and
yeah?
they've been super sweet
Oh,
across the
yeah,
board.
That's true.
The whole platform was a whole big oh no though. Because
Yes.
like moment one, hey, do you want to enter your credit card information?
Yeah, we literally.
Hey, you
there's a
just
video-
fired
know
up the.
that's my hobby.
You just fired up this
Enter your
brand new
credit
device.
card
Would you like to enter your
information?
credit card information? Hey, I know you want to do anything
There's
else.
a video
but
on YouTube that everybody should watch called Ouya Failure, Regret, Death. It's a compilation someone made. It's a great video of essentially people finding out news about the Ouya, unboxing the Ouya, playing the Ouya, and eventually discarding the Ouya. And we are in there a number of times. This would have been back in 2014, I want to say. Actually, no, winter 2013. Because this was a Christmas. I bought that for us as a Christmas 2013 gift. Because we
Yeah,
didn't
what a
always
gift.
buy the
That's
12
best
games of
By the
Christmas.
worst gift.
Yeah,
Merry
that's where that's when we
Christmas.
played It'll Do for the first time.
Actually,
Oh God!
Oh, yeah?
I'm so excited.
So it all
for
ties-
It'll do too.
Oh,
Yes,
no.
It'll Do too. I'm very excited about doing at some point as
It'll
well.
Do.
So excited.
No, just my PIN number.
New too.
Curious.
That one was hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the
think I
first
said that
thing on the
right,
screen
right?
is insert your credit card information, and we're like, oh no.
Oh no!
Yeah. Terrible way to start any video game console.
Alexford, I appreciate your Kick Day spirit, but Kick Day is in December.
That's true.
When's what
It's on
day?
my calendar.
What day is
December
Every year,
17th?
I wish Rick a happy
I think it's
Kick
the
Day.
17th. I
And
might
every
be
year,
wrong.
Rick hates me a little more.
Mostly because that game was so disappointing. Gods Will Be
game
Watching
was
was a
fucking
huge
terrible.
letdown, in my opinion.
Aw.
It was a neat game. It was basically this like super retro 8-bit pixel looking thing where it was like the idea was
it's
you make
December
choices and it
13th.
really
the day after
13th,
Felicia's
13th,
birthday.
okay.
Wait,
the idea was that you were supposed to make
They all
choices
knew,
that
wow.
affect the rest of like it was like a point and click adventure style deal. But like it wasn't just it's really hard to win. It was like, if you don't know exactly how to win, you will not win. It's completely impossible.
Seems reasonable.
Like the first level is a hostage situation, and it's basically impossible to get out of there without most of everyone dying.
So it's accurate.
You may have
I
James
guess.
Games. You
I
may
don't
Like
know.
have.
back in the 50s.
My memory
before
is
they
terrible,
had any
too.
way
No,
of-
future. It's a space.
That,
it's in space.
Okay.
It's
so-
a space.
Never
Text,
mind.
Yeah.
that kind of text input game can be super challenging when usually they're full of in jokes on some sort of IP that you're supposed to know. You know,
Yeah,
like,
but it wasn't
Someone's
text based.
tired.
It wasn't anything. It was just point click, right click, or something to get like a
Oh,
menu of
it is,
options.
John.
It was clunky and was weird, and each level was a different like gimmick essentially, and none of them were very good.
I hate
There was a
so many
desert
jelly
one.
beans.
You had to wander the desert, and it was terrible. But we should actually get into some of the. We used to talk about topics of various gaming things, and I think the big one in the world of gaming this week would be E3.
E3
E3,
canceled.
a staple of
Everybody
gaming.
Shut up! I know everything about this.
Oh boy, here we go. Go for
Uh-oh.
it.
I gotta go.
All right. Yeah, E3 has been around since the 90s. I don't remember exactly when in the 90s it got
Early.
started.
It got
Its
run out in the
meaningfulness
90s?
Was it
has
late
definitely
80s?
been waning for the past few years.
Yeah.
though.
Well, the internet kind of
E3.
made it unnecessary.
yeah,
a
I mean,
large part of it at the very least. I think Nintendo doing their Nintendo Directs really had a big impact on other companies realizing, we can have complete control
we've
over the
lost a
tone.
Jill.
We won't have any like live hiccups like Assassin's Creed. And you can iron everything out to perfection how you want it to be without needing to worry about all of these things. And so, like, Nintendo hasn't had a live presence at E3 in terms of like showcases in years.
Nintendo doesn't really make games either.
I mean,
Nintendo.
I mean, they do obviously.
Yeah,
but
like Mario and Zelda, they still make. But
their
like
turnover
Pokemon-
rate is so slow these days that like every time they have an announcement, it's like we're announcing that we don't have an announcement yet.
We will tell you
There's
when
some
it's ready.
interesting.
but
they're
you
kind
know
of-
that we're gonna drop a game eventually.
They've been kind of transitioning into more of like an indie house with the eShop that also puts out like 1 or 2 AAA titles a year.
I mean, it's very nice to have some companies not trying to go to the crunch 24/7 format and just releasing a little slower. Like,
Yeah.
the thing about E3 for me though is it started out as like a press pass only event. Like you could
Yeah,
not
it was
go
a straight up
as,
industry convention.
a person off the street. So going from that, eventually it hit a point where it is now irrelevant with things like PAX conventions where people can not only come off the street and go, and it's a much more direct to user marketing event, but also you get people that are excited to go as opposed to these industry people that, for them, a lot of them might be a long trip, a hell of a weekend. Like, it's a work thing they're forced to do, because E3 even tried to open its doors in some of the previous years before the pandemic. I know they sold like street tickets and that
They
kind
did,
of thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
John
they
and I went in 2018, I
Yeah,
think.
they shifted
I think so.
to starting
Yeah,
letting
it was cool.
street.
Yeah, it was a
Kick
great
the
time.
bucket.
You don't get in on all of the industry side parties, I imagine, though, because that's why industry people go to industry conventions, is for their
Connections and
industry
networking.
get-togethers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of the main floor.
Even when we were there on when it was open to the public, there were all these backroom things happening and
Absolutely.
backroom presentations, and it
Yeah.
was like,
You
oh,
were
I
in the
want to see
back
that.
rooms?
No, we
Tons.
weren't, and I wanted to be.
Like actually no, because that one of the big ones.
I
One of
know,
the big
just
ones
going to the
was
back
so
What
the year
level
that we
are you
went
in
was the year that
4,000.
John and I went was a great
Not
fucking
you,
year to be
CJ.
there because one, we were literally at Bulletproof Coffee.
Oh, wow,
You
that's going
you were on a work meeting.
Yeah.
I was just kind of hanging out, and I'm just like, oh, Nintendo's doing their Nintendo Direct. What's
Level
this?
run.
Oh, they're talking about Smash Brothers. That's cool. Everyone is here. I'm like, of course, the one time I'm entirely away from any possible anything, the biggest oh fuck of Nintendo Directs in years, and my phone died before the end of it. I'm like, now what do I do? But there was that, and also Resident Evil 2 and Mega Man 11 all had huge things
was a
going up
good
there.
year, yeah.
Mega Man 11 was great. We got to try out Blockman. Team Sonic Racing was also there. That was a good time. Resident Evil 2 though had there was a massive, crazy, fucking huge line for trying it out because it looked great, and it was great. RE2 remake was awesome.
Did I hug Crash Bandicoot? That sounds right.
I
hugged
think so. You
somebody.
hugged a lot. You hugged a
I
lot
hugged
of
a lot of
mascots.
characters.
But Resident Evil 2 definitely had a
That's
back
not
area
true.
that was
A lot
just
of
for
characters.
industry bigwiggy kind of
Yeah.
types. And
Yeah.
Those actors definitely love getting hugged when they're in those sweaty
yeah.
full body
yeah.
costumes.
Yes, they do.
absolutely.
Honestly, as a complete package at this point, I think I like
You
two
hugged
more
him
than
and told him you
Village.
played all his games.
What's that?
I think I like two
Oh,
more
God,
than
I've been
Village
saying
as a
your work.
complete package.
I
at
think I
this
do
point.
too. I think
Your
Village
specific work.
supposedly has DLC coming, maybe,
Masked
but
Bandicoot.
I don't know.
it's been.
I
a
think for
while
me,
now.
of the modern Resident Evil games, it probably goes Biohazard 2, just barely. I think they're super close together.
you mean 7 is Biohazard.
7, yeah.
yeah.
So 7, 2,
7-2 Village.
7 and 2 are close together. 3 and Village are close together. I think I like 3 a little better than Village.
Really?
I don't know.
I mean,
3.
3 wasn't bad. It was just so short and
It was very
quick.
short. The Nemesis shit was so repetitive that it felt like it was just, and I know the idea is that he's supposed to be following you constantly, but it's okay, don't make it like a boss battle level of interaction every 5 minutes. It's got to be either he's just there the whole time
He also
and it's just a mechanic,
totally railroaded
or-
me into the next area, which I didn't even realize he was doing.
Yeah.
I was just trying to.
We
avoid
totally,
him.
because we had to get 3 keys or something to get a better gun at the start.
I was just trying to
We
avoid
had-
him, and I accidentally ran into the hallway that was oh
Yeah.
no, now you need
You've
to
advanced the
Well,
plot.
Isn't Nemesis basically the same as the Tyrant from 2 anyway?
More or less.
And I'm
He's more like
assuming
Mr.
you're
X.
But more
he's like a
annoying.
juiced up
Functions
Mr. X with a
Not
gun.
adding
Okay.
4 into there because that would just be unfair.
Well, so, but yeah, I think my biggest 2 issues there were one, the city was not nearly as you had this big open area for the city, and then as soon as the plot really begins, it's linear for the rest of the game.
Right.
You really don't have any room to breathe. And
Yeah.
it felt like kind of a cop out on what they were implying the game was going to be.
Yeah, because I played the original, and
Yeah.
Raccoon City was way more open, and there were more areas.
Yeah. And the police station as well. You get it for it feels more like lip service here than it would have in the original game. Because you go in, you go up to a familiar room from 2, and then you get a fade out, a cutscene, and then you're gone. The police station's gone for the rest of the game. And it's whoa. You literally built this on the engine of the game that you did a year ago that had this thing complete. You really couldn't have figured out
Yeah.
a way to involve more of the
Also,
police
there's
station.
the anticipation the entire time that you're in the police station that Nemesis is going to show up.
Yeah.
He didn't.
And then he didn't. He wasn't in the
didn't.
police station at all. And it's
in the original.
yeah, it's Mr. X stomps around here in 2 and in the remake, and Nemesis is there in 3, in Nemesis, but not 3 make.
Well, I'm lost.
These games are
but,
fucking hard to describe.
Quick update, in case anyone's wondering why I'm fidgeting so much. This futon is not any more comfortable than usual.
No.
What? Yeah.
We're all
Can you
shocked.
believe it?
But
11
so
years of
E3,
futon.
E3 has
11
a really
years of
interesting.
futon.
It's the next Chizo game.
E3 has a really interesting history
no.
though of
That is
you're saying. Well, I guess there's 2 big parts of it. One is it's always been a kind of saturated space. Nowadays, there's the Tokyo Game Show, which is especially large for Japanese studios, but everyone's getting in on it these days. There's also there's also GDC, which has been a big one for a while now. And even back in the days where E3 got started, there was the Consumer Electronics Show,
Yep.
which was the bigger event of the 2 for a long time. CES is where consoles got revealed for most of the 90s, actually. E3 only really started taking over, I think, around like 97 or something. But like E3 kind of showed up as being the more like flashy of those, whereas CES was way more of like an industry show, like an industry
CES always
convention.
had a boring reputation.
Yeah, it
And
felt like an 80s office.
E3, especially in the beginning, had that kind of like, as a kid reading Game Informer, reading Nintendo Power, you're like,
Yeah.
shit,
E3
I wanna
yeah,
go
fucking
there.
awesome.
Right, you
Magical.
heard
It was a bucket list thing.
you
For
heard
was.
all about
It was-
E3.
We did it.
You were
It
like,
was a
I
good
can't
year,
even
too.
go there.
We
I'm
could
not
have
in
been
the
there on
press.
like less exciting years.
We
and I
got
think
to
we
play
picked a good
Smash
one.
Ultimate months before anyone
I
else.
won the hat that's right there in the Smash Brothers tournament
And I watched
before
you
the game
win
even
that.
came out.
That's great.
you participated in the tournament too.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He added one extra loser to the pool to help you out.
James
Exactly.
Games, we have not gone through as many futons as we have coffee tables. I will
No.
say that as much.
I've literally gone through a coffee table
Yeah, I
for
know.
a video.
And it hurt.
It hurt less than I was worried it was going to.
That's good.
Because I'm like, I'm going to throw myself at this big.
No, I meant it hurt the
homemade-
coffee table.
Oh yeah, it broke a leg. I'm lucky I didn't.
So
Hope it had
if anyone
insurance.
ever said Rick
But
doesn't
I'm
know how
glad
to take a
it
bump,
made it on the
Yeah.
stage.
he does.
Yeah, but like, so the other thing with E3 is they really have struggled with staying relevant.
Yep.
Not that and it's weird because they've been relevant, generally speaking, for like 25 years now. But like every now and then when it starts to dip, they'll make a really drastic change to their format to mix it up. So like in the 2000s, they started opening it up outside of the press, or even just in general, they were like, we want more press and a couple more people, like, industry insiders, press, and like a handful of just random folks in the public. But then they had the issue with what became the issue of the reputation of E3 being like booth babe central. It was like the big
Right.
thing. Early
Right.
2000s, that was just kind of like the thing.
Suddenly that was less cool.
Yeah, there was a point in the mid 2000s where everyone was like, this is kind of getting fucking weird, you guys. Like,
Well, when people start designing games around having a scantily clad booth
yeah.
babe,
Yeah.
It started to
The
like,
modern cigarette girl.
yeah, literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it makes me think of like car shows.
Is that what I was missing?
That same kind of thing.
You were 20 years too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey. Oh well.
There you go. But so they.
Wait. Sorry.
Oh, yeah,
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Maybe I just missed it. But like, why did they introduce the public to E3?
Because
Just
they needed money.
I think they
Okay.
needed money.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought, but I just wanted to make.
I don't
sure.
even know if it was that they were making less, but
Probably
I think they just
money and
wanted more
relevance.
They just okay.
relevance. Yeah, it was good for the brand, and it was good for at the time. It was good for marketing because, like you were saying, Nintendo Power, Game Informer, all of these various magazines. It was easier to market E3 as a more public friendly event than Consumer Electronics Show, where you could see the latest printer technology also being like it was
Yeah.
more of a
hot damn.
right.
Oh.
It was more of a general technology convention, whereas E3 was focused on gaming.
You know this
Hey.
one does 600 dots per inch?
Oh,
wow.
shit!
You know
can
what?
make
Why do
posters with that.
Printers still fucking suck.
They're
it's
terrible.
2022.
They sure do.
Why
Point-
can't we build a good printer? We've sent so many things to space. We can build a PS5. The world is amazing. I mean, it's also terrible. That's fair. But
you
why
build a
can't we build a
PS5?
printer?
I have
me,
many good
like,
printers.
literally.
You just buy shitty printers, I guess.
What do you have? Help me out.
I have great photo printers.
One
I'm not gonna.
D-pad.
One
They're
that
not.
did not
They're not
get-
a sponsor, so I'm not gonna
Without
say.
printing.
It is yes.
I don't think that's a worry. You can tell me off my
Something that's kind of loosely coming up in
Well,
the
I just-
chat.
Oh, if a printer company wanted to sponsor the
Yeah, I
company,
wouldn't say no.
like we
Hewlett
could
Packard, hit
definitely
me up.
switch. Like
If he's talking about photo printers, he's probably talking about Canon.
actually no.
No?
I use Epson printers.
Okay,
Oh.
I
See,
think we do too.
I said I
actually.
was gonna not
We use Epson.
brand drop, and then I brand drop.
There we go. Epson.
fine.
I hate
Fuck
both
Hewlett
of them.
I
Packard.
wanted the
Let's
knowledge.
go.
I spend
Hewlett Packard, I'm
a lot
sorry,
of my day
baby. Give me a
fixing
call.
those.
Not
I
an
hate
ad
both of them.
could be an ad. Yeah.
But so someone
Yeah,
brought
we
up
look
so,
like we got paid by
What's an ad?
Epson.
so there is
a little
I'm
bit.
over here saying,
Epson,
I hate
the
both
finest
of them, and I
printers.
fix them on a
I
daily
need
basis.
to
Yeah,
know
fair.
what Rick
Printers
is
terrible.
trying to say, or I'm gonna die.
so
But what if we interrupted him again?
late 2000s they got rid of the booth babes.
Yeah.
and which was a weirdly controversial thing because of course it was going to be.
Why don't we get some Booth Bros?
I don't know. I'm sure there were a few times. some
There's
Booth
no
Bros.
controversy over the Booth Bros
Yeah.
because double standards.
You can have booth
Oh,
babes
yeah.
that are
No,
bros.
I want men in booths who are being actively objectified and have
Yeah,
no other.
No. I think that they have that, and it's never been brought up as a problem.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Interesting.
definitely masculine characters in games that they have people rep.
But no, in E3 you wouldn't walk into a booth and like advertising for pick any game with a juiced up lead.
Kratos.
Yeah,
Doom.
God of War
Immediately came
didn't
to
have a
mind.
bunch of
I
like
didn't know why
dudes in
Doom was my
speedos
first thought. I was
God,
thinking
ripped
Doom.
onto their minds.
Duke
You know what I
Nukem
mean?
is what
Like
I was
it
thinking of
didn't.
Doom.
No,
I
they
said
didn't.
Doom. And then
I
was
was
like,
looking.
No, Duke Nukem is the
I
one
wasn't
that
looking,
juiced
but
up.
still.
I don't know. There
I'd
have
have
been
to
a
be
couple
like
of
the
booths at
300
PAX where I've
press
definitely
tour.
seen a booth
Yeah.
bro kind of situation
That's
going
cool.
on. So,
So
that's cool,
we
that's
got
cool.
into the
Shout out to
2010s.
PAX.
Progress, I guess.
We got into the 2010s, and they seemed to be very confused over
try.
whether they wanted to go more press directed or more public directed. And they kind of like wobbled back and forth. One year to the next had like really different rules of what they wanted to do with it, which how many days they would do.
they're Weebles.
Yeah, and then they got to
Except now they've fallen down.
Yeah.
the late 2010s, and they were just like, fuck it, it's open to everybody. They did literally, it was called E for Everyone. Was I think a side show? I think did they split it in two at one point?
That's where they just talk about the games that are for 10 and up.
It's been
right?
a while.
Well, it was oh my god, there was a point where they literally were just like, the press side of this isn't good enough, and so they had I think it was a second show. But then I think I would have to assume the game devs were like, this is a pain in the ass to deal with. Please don't do two shows.
Please stop.
And now they went digital only through COVID. Obviously, that's not going to generate the same amount of cash. And now they have canceled their 2022 digital event. There's no physical event. And the question is whether they're going to come back at all.
They're gonna have a metaphysical event.
Maybe.
I would go to that.
We haven't talked.
That would be awesome.
We didn't mention
You're
PAX.
already
Also, PAX
experiencing
has
it.
kind of become sort of the indie
not
darling, I
E3,
guess,
it's E-cubed.
of conventions for games.
I
PAX is
fucking
also
hate
in,
PAX. Can we talk about that?
PAX is also in kind of a troubling spot. Like, so we're
That's a spicy
located
take.
just outside of Boston.
Is
so
it?
we've been to PAX plenty of times.
Too many times.
I've never been to PAX.
Untenable.
PAX East, to be clear, not PAX
Yeah.
Prime. Though PAX East
I-
has also kind of taken over as like the big
PAX.
one out
So-
of all of them.
The PAX East and PAX Prime are both kind of big shows for them, but PAX East being in the springtime window when there's not a lot else going on.
It helps a lot for.
in the area, and then in general, it becomes a place where the big studios like to make announcements around this time. They're going to do it
Yep.
at PAX because it's a big floor. It gets a lot of
Yeah.
show coverage.
Well, there's two options if you want to announce something. If you want to announce something in the spring, there's PAX East and there's South by Southwest,
Right.
which didn't seem to have a game section this year. Usually Sega's all about doing a South by Southwest thing, and they had no presence there this year, which is
PAX
interesting because Sonic
seeks
has
out-
tons of shit to advertise right now.
Well, he doesn't. Well, they don't need to spend money on a convention booth because
They can do it digitally now.
They have the movie budget that's covering everybody's knowledge
True.
of.
There's also
Sonic.
like Sonic Prime, Sonic Frontiers, all this stuff that's like been kind of hanging for a while, and it's like maybe they're just not ready yet. But for PAX East, it's kind of in a weird spot. It's been growing in a really awkward direction. I can't tell what direction it really is. Part of the problem is it's slowly been getting eaten alive by like online. So one, the Twitch takeover of PAX has been awful. It just kind of there's a Twitch zone near the center, and every year it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger.
Twitch
Like physically in the
spends a lot of
space.
money on their booth. That's for damn sure.
And then usually there's some MOBA or something that also just takes over more and more. Like the WoW booth is like maybe 20% of that fucking floor space. It's so huge, and you can hear it from the entire show floor. God help anyone who we tried one year to record some like footage and audio and interviews and stuff, and then I came back and tried to edit it together. I'm like, this footage is useless. The footage was fine. The audio was unusable. It was so loud.
I think
so much noise bleed just everywhere.
It's like painful to be in there for more than a short time.
it's,
Like if
it's
you're gonna
loud
do
all the
really
time.
bad.
It's shoulder to shoulder too. That
Yeah.
stuff gets cramped as fuck.
I think the
It's
people who are putting videos out are probably getting their interviews done in the like
ahead of time
over
in, like,
top
the side.
in the walk.
Yes,
in
those little side zones.
the like you can go over the expo floor, get some of the floor in your shot, but
Yep.
not have the cacophony.
It's usually quieter. It's still weirdly loud.
oh
even
yeah, you
there.
also still have to get people all up on
Yeah,
the microphone.
It reverberates like crazy. You got to get like a lav mic if you want to have any hope of getting decent audio, let alone like passable.
E3 was cool, but
Yeah.
like it was fine. Like the Comic Cons were not my thing that much. They're kind of annoying. Like
Yeah, I've done a
PAX
couple-
is like a a drill in your spine.
Can we
But,
talk
like,
about the winner out of all of them? In my opinion,
Magfest?
Magfest.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Who we went
leading
to
up
every year for like 4 or 5 years up until COVID.
Up until COVID, which I
and-
missed. I really wanted to go this year,
Yeah.
but it just didn't seem like a good
It
idea.
didn't feel right. I think that was the right call. Next year, hopefully.
Next year, hopefully. I love-
also
Magfest
under
is
new
great.
and better management, which is great.
Oh, that's cool.
There was kind of a
I
big.
thought the old management was all right.
I mean,
From what I understood,
the
but
folks
I don't
that we
know.
knew in the old management are still around, and they're doing
Okay.
better and good in that. But there
Okay.
was kind of an issue with the folks who were like at the tippy top of that. There was kind of there was like a walkout essentially of most of the staff. A few of our friends and followers who are involved with Magfest have personal, not even firsthand, but like they were there, like they're part of that.
Yeah.
But the leadership stepped down, and there's a new leadership. There's a new sheriff in town,
All right.
and everyone seems pretty happy about it. So I'm looking forward to getting back there for Magfest 2023,
That's
which
positive.
has I believe a Smash Brothers theme for next year. For
Oh, cool.
Everyone is here.
Nice.
So I have
personally
I,
love
that.
I had to jump in because I have many
The board
feelings
game, 'cause
on
you do the board
PAX.
game and tabletop
Yeah,
sections,
that's
which
my
are usually a
fucking-
lot better.
that's
They
my-
do
Yeah.
really well.
and also,
there.
as someone who's doesn't go as a content creator, I
Yeah.
don't have the same complaints.
we tried it once or twice, and I don't think I'm
spend
going
a
to try
little
it
bit of
again.
time
It's
on the expo
it's
floor,
too much.
and then the rest of my time is split between panels,
Yeah.
demoing board games that haven't come out, trying new tabletop systems with the developers that I've never played, randomly jumping into test games if people like. That's mostly what I'm there for, and that's the shit that's open until midnight. And then
Yeah.
also like
Tabletop section is usually pretty solid for PAX. That's probably the one that's doing the healthiest out of all of the like zones.
It does
It's
like
doing
get
so well
bigger.
that they added that focused convention, so you could go to Unplugged
Yeah, PAX
in Philly,
Unplugged.
Plugged, yeah.
and that's not about
Specifically.
computer games. That's about board games,
Yeah.
and card games, and
That's
tabletop
awesome.
games.
Which
So,
is really good to hear.
I have very particular thoughts on PAX,
Yeah.
and I've gone to it every single year for the past 8-10 years. I do every day of PAX. I've stayed in the hotel. I've driven in.
We got
I've-
press passes our first time there because Unregular was like, "Do you guys want to go?" And like, "If you're paying,
fuck
sure."
yeah.
And they're like,
Yep.
"Okay." Oh, all right.
That's awesome. Well, no, I see. I do BYOC. I bring my
Yeah.
computer to the BCEC. They set it up in a secure area. You get a chair. You get your computer. You can LAN party in the BYOC area. But like when I was a kid, I wanted to go to E3. Like every other young video gamer, I assume saw it in magazines and was like, how cool. And it wasn't because I wanted to just be in that building. It was
No.
because I wanted to go talk to the developers. I wanted to go and shake the hand of the person who made Chrono Trigger and be like, you're a fucking G for life. Like, I don't care. You could kill me and I'd say thank you. Like,
They look, you can go nuts.
that's what you want.
extreme.
But
Say
like,
thank you if you did.
I like that game a lot.
You gotta say it in the middle of it. It's your
Yes,
last. Or
as
you
I'm
write it
going
in
down.
blood on the floor.
But the thing is that
Thank you for the honor of killing me.
PAX, when it was smaller, really gave that opportunity and a lot of developer boosts. Then they started to make a huge amount of money and they expanded. They didn't use the whole BCEC in the first years. They started.
Now it's not enough. Now it's not big enough.
There
The
are
first
less
year
and
was
less
in
games
the,
you can
um,
actually play
yeah.
each year.
The
That is
Heinz.
something that bums me out.
Oh,
And the second year was in the BCEC because it was already growing so much.
Oh,
for
Yes.
yeah.
So-
I have insider knowledge.
Yes,
Full disclosure,
Peter,
I'm an
why do you know?
enforcer. Oh. So I'm part of the staff for PAX.
So
So
how do you feel about
Whatever
that?
you want to
Oh,
say
I
about
love
it is
PAX.
fine. Just
Yeah.
don't violate any NDAs or whatever, and you're good. I guess you wouldn't have an NDA.
I have things that I know that I can't tell you.
Okay, so yeah, don't say those. Then.
Yeah.
We don't want to get you in trouble on that.
So as PAX grew, it kind of became like more and more of a commercialized show.
Yeah.
And the thing to go to PAX, the fun thing about PAX for me is not going to the giant, massive super booth for League of Legends that year, get a free, single skin and wait in line for 2 hours.
I do want the fucking Final Fantasy T-shirt.
Well,
Do
that
not
was
get
pretty
me
rad.
wrong. I will
that
go
you
get
had
that.
to earn by beating
You
Shiva.
have to go beat the boss.
Yeah.
I'll
set you
admit
up in a
if
random
we
group.
didn't
The
if-
line was so crazy. I wanted to do that, and I didn't.
If
Yeah,
I
the
didn't
line
know
froze
someone
out.
who, if I didn't know somebody who, and I'm not going to name anybody, but like if I didn't know somebody who works the Nintendo booth most years, then I probably would avoid the Nintendo booth. I like the games that are usually on display, but it's like that's just like the big Sony one, and there's a bunch of areas that like you don't want to get into.
Yes.
but like
But the secret of PAX is, like Dave said, the board game area, which has grown exponentially over time, and the indie mega booth.
Yep.
The indie mega booth used to be like, yo, we got 20 square feet. Who wants to give us $1,000? You
Yeah.
can't have anything but one plug and one computer. Do it. and indie game developers
Yeah, an
started
HDMI
coming.
input
and you
and
know who
one
shows up
output.
to those booths?
Yeah.
The developers.
Yes.
I shook
Yep.
the hand of the person who made Dead Cells. I went up
Yeah.
and told the person who made Curious Expedition that I beat it with every single explorer, and they were like, "What the
So
fuck?
I want
Why?"
that
Yeah,
as
they
its
just
own
like back away.
standalone con.
Yes.
Where I don't have to
haven't
wade
done that.
through thousands
Whoa,
of
we didn't
people
even
shoulder to
playtest all
shoulder,
those.
noise like
Nope,
crazy.
you're-
Like I want that.
You're totally right. And thankfully the indie booth has expanded over time, but so has the money that goes into PAX,
Yeah.
and so have
The
the
AAA studios areas get bigger and
Yeah,
bigger,
the-
and like it's either you're the tiny little micro indie, which still gets about the same amount of claim to space there, which is good, or you're a giant AAA that's slowly like eating everything else. And if you're anywhere in the middle, you have like no hope
Yep.
of actually getting like a good firm spot anywhere in there.
I mean, you could try though, because like
I mean, you may as well.
The staff at PAX definitely wants there to be a balance. Like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, the big booths bring in the money that help you break even on your show. 'cause
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously expensive to run an expo.
Sure, yeah, and I get that. I know that like they got
It
bills
is
to pay
business
if
at
they're
the
gonna
end of the
keep it
day, for
running.
sure. And, like,
exactly. I mean, that's
I
why
get it.
E3 is not a thing anymore.
I get
Also,
overwhelmed by sound and
that's why-
crowds, so
that's
it's
why
maybe
PAX,
not for me.
PAX South isn't a thing anymore as well because of the cost associated and it didn't grow like they wanted, and definitely doesn't have anything to do with it being in Texas. Nope.
Also, Riot definitely used to go to PAX East because they used to hand
Yes.
out like free skins and stuff. And also one year, myself and Jeff and a bunch of other people all did cosplay from League of Legends. So
Oh,
I'm
nice.
already 6'4". So take me, add a muscle suit, paint my
Yeah.
whole body blue, add a silicone tongue hanging out of my face, put risers in my shoes so I'm 6'8" almost,
Holy
and I was
shit.
Dr. Mundo, and literally like did the whole thing, did the whole cosplay show. I don't know who texted me the next day. They sent me a screenshot. The League of Legends launcher was cycling through pictures. and
Oh,
there-
no.
There's my dumbass face on the League of Legends East
That's
launcher.
cool.
And
Yeah.
I was just
Oh,
like,
wow.
So there are
oh god, I wish I used better settings spray.
Fun Legacy.
there are those beautiful moments where they actually will interact with you, and it's
Yeah.
something sort of cooperative, which
Yes,
is
I
what
am
you
way
always
tall.
wanted from a con like this.
Yep.
But it's dominated in space by, like, remember that game Biomutant? Oh yeah, neither do I, and neither does anybody else.
Yeah.
But they spent $2 million to have a 100-foot by 100-foot thing of 96 consoles to play, and they
Yeah.
never even filled them up. And everybody's like, why is this here? And it's like, well, because they paid. It's not because it's a good game. It's not
Over
because
in-
it's fun.
Over in that corner of the room is a pile of boxes that I finally received a month ago that were the result of John and I going to PAX. Oh, holy Christ. 2017, maybe even 2016, when they had a little setup where you could play old games on a system that was upscaling them. And I believe at the time it was called Retro Blocks, and now it's called Polymega. And at the time they were like, yeah, we're looking to launch probably in the next like year or two. And then we finally got like, I don't want to like slam them or whatever, because some of it was bad business decisions. Absolutely. Some of it was like really unfortunate luck, and also the darker side of basic capitalism stuff where like, so for their systems, they needed chips to make their systems, and those chips were coming from Myanmar.
Aha.
Had some things going on lately.
Little political turmoil.
Which makes it a little tough to get/exploit a bunch of materials for chips from there.
Did you ever get that?
Yes.
Is it good?
I haven't opened it up yet.
Yeah.
I'm
Get
looking
to-
for a good
Wait,
excuse
when
to.
Did you,
Yeah.
when did you get it?
I ordered it in June of
No, I know.
2019.
You told me the whole story. When
Yeah.
did you actually get it?
I got it maybe a month ago.
Oh, damn.
Wait,
Okay.
so what does that thing
do?
It's
a fancy Retron.
It's like a Retron, but rather than focusing on the NES, Super Nintendo,
Oh, yeah,
Genesis,
yeah, I
Game
know.
Boy, it's mostly for early disc-based systems.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You told me
PlayStation,
about this,
Saturn.
and I know what we're gonna use it for, but
Yeah.
none of
TurboGrafx
you guys
CD.
do.
It works really great in tandem, but
Uh-oh.
it also can do NES and Super Nintendo.
So does
that's
Secret
that's
Tunnel?
like me with like Kickstarter board games, especially near the beginning of the pandemic. I was like, oh, hopefully this will just be a quick 3-hour tour, so I'll
Yeah.
get a couple board games on order, maybe in like a year when they show up.
Yep.
I'll be able to play them with people coming over to my house. And now I get emails, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
package are they
I've got
talking
games that I'm
about?
still.
And then I'm like, oh shit, I ordered this board game 3 years ago.
I put money into the Kickstarter for Protodroid Delta.
I have
like 3 years
18
ago.
that I'm waiting for right
Yeah.
now. So like, yeah,
I am still excited about Protodroid Delta for the record, but I put money into the Kickstarter. I mean, that's just the nature of the business at this point. But
I'm really looking forward to Mighty Number 9 though. That's gonna be good.
oh boy, when it comes out on the 3DS or the PSP,
That is,
yeah,
that is my thing. I have
Hilarious.
backed many a board game on Kickstarter, and
Yeah.
I've gotten some shit ones, but also some very good board games on Kickstarter. I've never personally, and I think they're much rarer overall, gotten a good video game that was backed on Kickstarter. I think they're just two different beasts.
The only ones that I can think of, there's
Psychonauts.
Psychonauts 2 would definitely be one.
Yep.
A little on the smaller indie side though, because Tim
I don't
Schafer's
know-
a big.
I don't know
name.
if I can count
Yeah.
Psychonauts 2 because like the first one was already a successful.
That's the
release.
thing, right?
Like,
I
Tim
suppose,
Schafer
yeah,
has
I would
a
say
fair.
deal.
the big great examples would be like Shovel Knight is maybe like the example of like an ultra successful good independently
vocab
funded
word.
game. Yeah.
Catch that.
There are Hollow Knight was Kickstarter. I'll
Hollow
get
Knight
it
was
right.
also Kickstarter.
doing
Yeah.
So there are definitely some, but the
Bloodstained
success
was also-
the success cases of Kickstarter video games is
Yeah.
vastly lower than
That's the thing. It's
Kickstarter
They're
board
the
games.
rare win in a in an ocean of like whatever.
Well, so
mostly an
to-
ocean of just never.
Not to mention a
finished.
lot of them. Sometimes there are a lot of scams that float around there too, and there's not a lot of great ways to know until it's too late.
Yeah.
So to redirect the conversation back towards conventions.
Yes.
So I've kind of said what I like about PAX. There's all, everybody's got their own things. Peter's seen it from a different angle, like working behind the scenes and attending.
and checking Unplugged as well.
I haven't been to Unplugged. I've
Unplugged is
done.
chill packs.
I really want to go there. I almost
I-
went.
I
That sounds
and-
so good.
I almost
Yeah.
went a couple years ago and just wound up not at the last second, and then COVID and was like, "Fuck, all right."
Yeah.
So the
No offense if
I
Beans
love
is
board
in the
games.
chat, but Philly is a dirty city.
it's tough. So the question here is, what would make, for those of you who haven't been to or don't like PAX having been to it, what would make it something you'd want to go to, and what will keep PAX going forward where E3 did not?
I can probably answer that. I
All right,
think.
go first.
Make it basically MagFest. I think MagFest has an excellent.
Less people.
Less. I think less people is because there's
Here's
less
the
industry
thing.
presence,
Your
so there's
answer
less people
cannot
looking
be
for
just
that.
less people, because
Yeah.
unfortunately, with
Yeah.
the way things grow, you can't
You
just be
need-
like
you need more people.
half
Yeah.
the tickets. Fuck them. Like,
See, dude,
that
you
can't
don't
be
need
the
to
answer.
travel for PAX East. You could go to PAX Australia.
Well,
it's in
there
Melbourne.
I was gonna say, was it PAX? It is.
Melbourne.
So-
Melbourne.
PAX South is Texas, right? And PAX.
PAX South
Was.
was Texas and is no more.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, that one's
Rick,
out.
as someone who's never been to MagFest, give
Yeah.
me like
Yeah,
PAX
a
North.
10-second description
Yeah,
of
I
what is
agree
the
with you, Sam.
difference
Okay. That's
and
a huge
what
problem.
makes
PAX North,
that
like Alaska.
good and PAX bad for you.
So what makes MagFest really good to me is that
great place for a PAX.
it's very individually focused. Is maybe like the core of it is like there feels like so much more empowerment to visitors, to creators. There's a lot more independent people
Might I
that
submit-
are running stuff there as opposed to corporations that are there.
Might I submit a thought you
John
might
and
be
I
getting
bumped
at?
into John and I literally were taking an elevator up to go see a panel, and we just kind of wound up in the elevator with Brentalfloss for like the
Yeah,
ride
there's like
up
a lot
there.
of cool like YouTubers there, and they might be big, but they're
Yeah.
not like owned by a $10 million.
Well, the last time we went, we
Jeff's really
on our
trying to
way
make
in, because it was me and you and Josh Retro Trigger, and I think Denari might have also been with us on our way in, and I think I joked about like I wonder if we're probably not big enough that anyone's gonna recognize us here, but like that'd be kind of cool, right? I wonder if we'll recognize anybody else, and then literally we step in the door and I go, oh, it's Gaijin Goomba. A guy who I know off of Twitter. Like I'm not like friends with him exactly, but I'm familiar with him. And I was just like, oh, I'm gonna go. And Josh was like, yeah, let's go say hi. I'm like, wait a minute. For Rhode Island Comic Con, I saw Walter Jones, the Black Ranger from the old Power Rangers show, and I like froze up and couldn't say
It was
anything
so
because I was
cute.
like, whoa. I can't just say hi to him.
Quick comparison numbers for you in 2018, which is the last year that they both ran as normal, and like the year I looked at before COVID hit and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. MagFest had about 21,000 visitors overall.
That's better
and
than I
PAX
would've guessed.
Had mid 80,000.
Yeah, PAX is
So
huge
that's
by comparison.
That's kind of the thing.
So let
It's
me
just
make this distinction very clear.
Yeah.
How many video games did you play while you were at MagFest?
There were some tournaments. I got in on a couple game tournaments.
But it's all retro stuff. None of it's
a lot of it's retro. There
Yep.
there was not. I don't recall them really doing anything in the way of games that are coming out. It was more
There's-
focused on music, but also games.
And therein lies the thing: is that
Yeah.
Music and Gaming Fest? It is not necessarily a video game centric conference. It is for adjacency of video games.
It's
It's people
yeah.
who
It's
love
maybe not a super fair
music
comparison
of
for PAX
games.
and
People who
MagFest.
do panels about music in games. People who do panels about all kinds of adjacency to video games.
Yeah.
But you didn't see any developers there. You didn't see any new games.
No.
You
Yeah.
didn't see any.
The money in
There were-
MagFest is not from
You got to
the
you got
games or the company.
you got to chat up a composer after one of the panels.
I did. Yeah,
and,
he was
and
cool.
that was like
That was fun, but like no one made any money on that.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
You
right.
know,
and like,
especially not you.
we got to bump into Ben
That's for
Briggs.
sure.
Yeah. In the hallway, Denari is like chummy with Ben Briggs, and I was like,
Sick.
"Your mustache is cool." Like,
But that's the
but
thing.
that's the thing.
Keep
There's no
talking, I
like
gotta pee.
company. There's no like corporate presence there, really.
Yeah.
Which, on the one hand, makes it a lot more enjoyable because it's just like people doing stuff together, and there's a
Fine,
big
baby.
spirit of like community and like all that. But also,
Don't hit
you're
your
not
head.
trying out.
No.
But also, you're not trying out
Join
brand new
me.
games. You're not seeing
Yeah.
the hot new thing.
I
That's
didn't.
coming out.
I didn't play a single game at Magfest aside from some like old retro arcade cabinets they had set up, and
Yeah.
it's a very big distinction that PAX
Yeah.
is about video
The
games,
arcade
putting your
cabinets
hands
are
on
like
a
the one
controller.
thing that
Unfortunately.
really show up in spades. Some really rare
Yeah.
shit shows
I
up.
mean,
there.
I will
Well,
say that I really miss the arcade cabinets because PAX hasn't had
Yeah,
the
PAX
section
arcade.
for
Yeah.
the arcade cabinets in a while.
Not
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
while.
Also, PAX just has had occasional crazy moments where like a friend of mine walks back up, to the room in the Westin and is like looks kind of out of her mind. We're like, "What's going on?" She's like, "We're just doing shots of whiskey with Patrick Rothfuss at the bar downstairs."
Yeah, we met
And,
Patrick
like,
Rothfuss.
All right.
Yeah, like so a couple of us then all like sprinted downstairs, kind of thing. And like many years back when D&D 5e was still D&D Next, I was like at PAX just kind of wandering by myself because I was at a panel and was like, and left. Walked by a random table in Board Game Land and like someone's like, "Hey, do you like Dungeons and Dragons?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." And they're like, "Do you have anything to do for the next 3 to 5 hours?" And I'm like,
Depends.
Not
Are you about to
really.
ask about
Not
Dungeons and
really.
Dragons? Is this related?
yeah. And so at that point they're like, "Here, come on." You know how they have those like the kind of sectioned off tables that
Yeah.
are like have the curtains?
Yeah.
It was a bunch of the fucking 5e devs and like
No
Chris
shit.
Perkins was there for a bit and like a bunch of people and myself and like 3 other people wide-eyed fucking looking
Yeah.
around being
Can't
like,
believe it.
They're
that
like,
definitely just got pulled and got like, "Do you like Dungeons and Dragons?"
Yeah.
Just like I did a minute ago.
have expected them to seance in Gary Gygax or
and,
some shit.
Yeah, and they were just like, "Hey, yeah, would you guys like to play like a one shot using the new D&D system and then do like a 30-minute Q&A and give feedback afterwards?" And I was like,
It's like,
"I've been waiting my whole fucking life for this question."
Yeah.
Yes. And like during it, like I guess they must have had a bunch of the people because like I kept seeing people. I'm like, "God, I swear I recognize them." And then afterwards, I looked it up. I'm like, "Oh, holy shit!" Because like I knew who Chris Perkins was, but then like Crawford walked through and like a couple other the big wig rules designers and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I was just like, it's one of those things like when you're younger and you go to concerts and for the internet and you see like the guy walks out on stage and everyone goes nuts and you're like, "Oh, that must be him."
yeah, and he's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had
nope,
to
it's
look
just
it
a
up.
tech
I had to look
guy.
it up afterwards,
yeah,
but
I love the guitar tech pop.
That's
a lot,
That's got to be
lot of,
the like highlight of that week is like, fuck yeah, they don't even know who the fuck
They
I
don't
am.
know
But I'm
who
getting
I
some
am.
cheers. All right, sweet.
but like a lot of PAX is like what you make it, and it's unfortunately one of those things where if you're an
great
anxious
point.
and socially reserved person,
Yeah.
PAX is not going to make you not be that.
But there
I mean,
are.
there's also the thing of like, "Hi, I'm a very casual gamer,
Yeah.
and I've been to PAX once, and
Hi.
I did kind of hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I like this."
Very casual. Okay.
But like, I've been to PAX once, and it was interesting because I'd never been to it.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of stuff that I just could not enjoy for the fucking life of me there. The
Yeah.
board game section, I loved.
yeah,
I
that's where I spend
Adored
the
it.
In the
vast
video
I was
game
gonna say, as soon as
section.
I got there, I was just like, "Oh, this is great," because everyone talks
Yeah.
to you like no
I
matter where
wander
the
you
video
around
game-
go.
and they have little cones that just say like looking for people, and like the best thing to do is they have a specific test section where developers and even you can like just go up and sign up a couple days ahead or something and just get permission to bring in your game and set it up at one of these tables and have random people come up and try it.
But like that was the most fun thing to me is that you would just walk up and people were playing games, but because everyone's testing everything, you just walk up and you're like, oh, maybe you could try that. It's so interactive. I really liked that section, but I found like for me as a casual gamer, the actual like video game section severely lacking, except for like a few of the try my indie game sections.
That's the thing. Is it's
There's
so
just less and less actual video games you can play at the video game convention.
Yeah, which is kind of upsetting.
I think that the biggest problem is that like the video game, the floor essentially, the video game side of it is a livestock mill, for lack of a better term. They want you to show up. They're going to corral you into various areas, and you get in, you play, and you get the fuck out of line because they got 90 billion more people that they want to come see their game that day. And like it starts to feel more and more impersonal over the years. When we first went to PAX in 2013, 2014, whenever that was, it was fine. It was already clearly on its way in the direction it is now, but like it felt
It's like when you go to Six
smaller.
Flags and like you get to ride 3 coasters because you spent the entire day in line.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of that's the thing. You have to,
my favorite.
That's not, It's not an
That's,
exaggeration.
that's exactly correct.
Yeah.
You want to
spend the
do
whole day
3
in
big
the
rides, or do
You
you
have
want to
to
do
pick-
20
that's
small
the
ones?
right
You have to pick what games you're willing to spend maybe 3 or more hours in line for.
I spent 45 minutes in line for Kerbal Space Program 2 last time.
Yeah.
I didn't do a single other big tent thing.
Yeah,
I went to
was
the
gonna say-
console room upstairs to play console games against people. I went to Indie Mega Booth. I went to Board Game Zone.
and like
the irony.
I literally chose things by the length of the
Oh,
line.
same.
Yeah.
Every
Actually,
time.
good tactic.
I
The
don't care what
irony,
you want.
the greatest irony is that with E3 2018, they did not really have that problem. The worst case scenario was Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, ironically, but like new Pokemon game is going to have a line for
Always
days.
hype. Yeah.
That one, they literally like 15 minutes in, they were like, the line is full. I'm like, all right, that's fine. I don't want to spend all day in line for that. But like Team Sonic Racing, we were in line for maybe 10 minutes. We were really...
That just says something about
I
Team
mean,
Sonic.
one example of many, Spyro. We played the Spyro
Yeah.
Reignited trilogy, and
Well,
we were in
E3
line for like half an
overall
hour.
Was still a lot less dense than PAX. Like
Yeah.
you had to
Yes.
wait in line.
They
but
were
I think
very
even for Mega
efficient.
Man, we only waited for an hour.
Yeah, it was surprisingly efficient at what should have been a way more, I would have assumed, but that's because it's still primarily press and industry focused, so a lot of people are going through back doors to get stuff.
And they're
But
going
so-
in there to like play the demo for 3 minutes and then
and
get out.
discuss. Oh, I mean, if some of the if you're press, you're going in, you get your notes, you get out, maybe interview real quick. For insiders, they're probably talking shop for a little while too.
Right. Well, and you're not trying to have each round of people playing thing be a T-shirt giveaway because
Yes.
it's not the public. It's
Yeah.
the press writers.
So that is
Yeah.
a very interesting.
E3's 2018 attendance was 70,000.
So yeah,
Was E3 2018?
2018.
Okay.
So a little smaller than PAX.
Yeah.
A little
and
bit.
it seemed like
Okay.
a bigger space.
Yeah.
It was an entire block of LA.
Yeah,
Jesus.
several buildings, 3 buildings.
That's
Because the
crazy.
Xbox, the entirety of Xbox was separate.
So you
was
take
in their
less
own
people than
Microsoft branded
PAX.
building.
Spread them out over more
claims
space.
that
That
there
sounds- that
were
sounds nice.
3,250 individual games shown off.
I don't know if I believe
Okay.
that,
Yeah,
but
question
there
mark
were a
on
lot.
that.
There were tons.
Does that
I would
include a
say
guy with like 10 different
I know, right?
games just like in his coat and he's like, hey, you want to check out my game?
The-
You wanna buy some
Oh,
games?
they did. Some of the areas had different games on different days, so like that number may not be totally unreasonable. But so, I think the issue really with these conventions is, and it's something that PAX has already suffered, and it's something that MagFest has been very careful in navigating. And again, they don't have to worry about the industry game companies really factoring in, but once you start moving in the direction of needing industry giants to kind of support it in one way or another, it's kind of a slippery slope. Like there's really no avoiding that eventual slide into this is what it's really about now, because like once they're involved, you need to make sure that you've got all the stuff that makes their stuff work. So now you need more money, so you need more people, and you need to sell more tickets. You open the 4th day, but now you got to figure out how to get Nintendo to stick around for Sunday and Riot to stick around for Thursday. And
So it's like drugs.
It's also
just-
the industry.
Start with a little,
The
but
industry
more
is
and
not
more.
Sure
going
do
there
love
by
heroin.
merch, which like
No.
Yeah.
that's been another thing. Another thing in PAX is like the just rise of so much of the expo floor being taken up by merch booths.
Yeah.
And like I am
it's a
definitely
ton,
someone,
and it's like, guys,
I am definitely someone who appreciates some good ass swag, and I most
So many
certainly can make
repeats.
an impulsive purchase or two.
so much of the same
But
shit.
and it's also so much of the same shit that you could go to the website they're handing out cards
Yeah.
with and buy for $5-10 cheaper.
they sell
Right.
anime
And, like-
waifu body pillows at PAX.
Yeah.
Wait, they do?
Yeah, they
Go to
yeah.
PAX.
at about 50 different
John's
booths,
mind change.
and half of them look exactly
I knew
the
they
same.
could do it.
And like, not to mention, even PAX's own
this is
merch
even
takes up a
becoming problem.
giant chunk.
This is becoming a problem in the board game land that
is it
they
really?
used to have. Well, because it used to be a lot more local stores.
Yeah.
So you'd have a lot more individual booths from local stores.
how we
that
got
would each
Betrayal,
kind of bring their
our
own
copy of Betrayal.
specialization to it.
Last copy of that print.
We still have
Yeah.
a few. There's still a few like vendors who are like,
Pan-
we
Pandemonium
brought all
Games
of our
is from
inventory
Yeah,
from our
here.
local shop to
Wow.
PAX for 4 days.
Yep.
But eventually you start
Yep.
getting like Rio
That
Grande
Jelly
and
Bean
all
tastes
of those
so-
like otherwise really big like
Did you wash your hands?
Yep.
first?
names start to eventually
Yeah.
I don't know if it's avoidable. I don't know what you would have
And,
to
like-
do.
It's
to
like when you start a
prevent
business
that.
and you take too much investment from outside things and you lose control, and I hate to be a downer because I'm really enjoying
Yeah,
this
no, I think-
conversation about being a downer about panels, but I just
I think we
looked at
should
the time
probably
and I gotta
we should
run.
probably start wrapping this up
Oh,
fairly
that's true.
soon. Actually, like I feel like we could go for 3 more hours, but brevity
Well,
brevity
then-
is still
then allow
The
me
soul of wit.
cons.
Yeah.
Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Good
Yeah.
and bad. You get
I
what
went
you
pros
put
and
into it.
cons.
I went to Gen Con.
Pros and cons. The
With
title
you
of the
guys
episode. Gen
once.
Con was fun.
It's the
That was
only
cool.
convention I've been to.
Gen Con is a
Nice.
great time.
Gen
Gen
Con
Con
was a great
Indie,
time.
really good time.
What I would like to do real quick before I have to jet, sorry to take
Yeah.
it over, but happy fucking birthday, Rick.
Thank you.
Happy 11 years of busting your ass so we
Yeah.
can be assholes on the internet, Rick.
Ooh, coming up on 10,000 Let's Play videos.
Unbelievable.
I know.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
I
don't think we'll get there-
a trophy for some
Yeah.
reason.
I don't think that we'll get there this year, but it'll be before
Yay.
this
The
time
YouTubes.
next year.
The YouTubes, which
Yeah.
send you a,
But,
a
oh,
million
actually, that's not
subscribers
true.
gold
No,
button
that's-
if you get a million
Guys, I can't
subscribers.
believe
yeah,
Rick
it might
turned
be. It
11.
actually
you
might
put
be
out
true.
a million hours
Amazing
of
work.
content,
Amazing
they
work.
should
We
send
haven't.
you,
We
like,
haven't had a year where we've lost subscribers yet.
Nope. I'll count
So
that as a
that's
win.
still going.
a golden
that as a
film
win.
strip. I don't know.
But yeah,
Um,
Rick is the hero, and we love
We'll
him.
figure it out.
What's this one was I'm co-opting Peter's suggestion from earlier on, but what's your least favorite Marvel movies? On your way out, and we can continue if you have to dash like now.
Okay, yeah, I should probably get going. But my least favorite Marvel movies?
Yeah.
Anything not Thor Ragnarok.
All
The-
of them except for Thor Ragnarok.
Ta-da!
Okay.
The inspiration for this, for the record, is everyone's least favorite comic book movie
Great
actor
job.
Jared Leto dropping the ball once again with Morbius. My favorite meme about this, Peter's seen this one also, is the Darth Maul, Jared Leto, pshung, worst DC movie. Pshung,
I don't know. I didn't
worst.
see Morbius yet.
I haven't either. I've
I saw
seen
it.
enough trailers for it to have like negative interest in the movie.
I believe Peter's the only one.
See,
who's
I'm
actually seen
not
it here.
interested
Yeah.
in it, but I'm actually more interested than I was in Venom. So
I've seen it. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah, I
a vampire movie.
It
I
seemed
think, I
like
think
it
that's
would
why
be.
I'm drawn.
That's
still
why I
in a
went
way.
to
Yeah.
it. I was like, this will be an interesting vampire movie.
Yeah.
That low stakes. I don't care.
Oh, low stakes.
Hey.
Oh,
He's not that kind of vampire.
He's a vampire. I'm sure that
is
would
he
still
the
hurt.
sparkly kind?
I'm sure that would
He's
still
not
hurt.
that kind either.
No.
Damn.
I'm sorry, but his
Well, shit,
facial
I'm out.
hair.
I don't want to watch
Actually,
anymore.
you know what? He kind of is the sparkly kind because they
Oh,
do
no.
this thing. So like the characters who are vampires in the movie.
Oh,
they
good.
end
There's
up-
plural.
Yes, there's plural vampires
Oh.
in the
Yeah,
movie,
yeah,
and
that
they
doesn't
start
surprise me.
like they're people who have this disease and they're like gaunt and they're like shriveled
yeah.
and they're like. they
Does
do
one of
the,
them look like
They do
Nosferatu?
the like the sunken makeup, the like oh I'm ill makeup, and then to sort of counteract
Consumption,
that and
yep.
go way overboard, he's got like pretty boy makeup on when he's like all buff. He's like. Oh yeah, no, they like did the mascara, little guy line,
Little
little
blush,
blush,
yep.
some like
I-
glow up going
It's like
on.
every
He's-
Nosferatu vampire and Vampire the Bloodline Masquerades is like, what the fuck? As they're like hiding in the sewers.
When he's in his like monstrous vampire form, whatever his facial hair situation going on is one just like the ugliest looking shit I think I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
well, I mean, did you have the old toy from the '90s with,
No.
the two face, like he
Oh, I've had
squeezed
a
his
few of
legs
those.
together and his face spun around, and he
No.
had-
I mean, I had toys that were similar.
the vampire face was really ugly.
well, like I
is a
cannot help
Morbius
but
toy?
every
Yeah,
time,
the old
every time,
Spider-Man, Hasbro.
every
5-inch
time I saw
figure.
him do
That's
his monster
fascinating.
face and do like a blah, for whatever reason, my brain registers that face as like a literal rectum. I'm sorry, but like something about it, my brain is like that looks like a fucking butthole for a
mean-
face and mouth.
I don't know. It's the D-pad. Rick thinks everybody's eating ass.
I guess it's 2022. I think everyone's eating ass.
So that was the first quote that I ever had that got put into Nightbot was
Morbius.
typical
Michael
rich
Morbius
stream, I
is
sign
Marvel,
on
yeah.
and he's in something's ass.
Yeah, that's about right. Yep.
Mom, I made it.
Yeah.
I did it finally.
Yeah, he's a Spider-Man adjacent. He's in the Sony Marvel verse, not the regular Marvel verse.
Yeah, though there's also, I guess there were also mumblings that there was
Movie
something in the
eventually.
movie that explicitly separated it from the Spider-Man Marvel universe.
Yes-ish. Yes.
Which, like, it was already complicated enough. I feel like Kevin Feige decided to troll Sony with what they did regarding Venom in No Way Home. Because Venom 2 has a little post-credit stinger where all of a sudden, boom, like a thing happens, like, what the fuck just happened? I don't know. It looks at the TV and it's like, Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and so it ties it into Far From Home. Then No Way Home has a little Venom is nowhere to be seen, and a post-credit stinger has him sitting in a bar in like Tijuana or something, and he's like, I should probably go to New York and see what this Peter Parker's all about. Vroom, and they're gone again. It's like, you thought Venom was going to be involved in all this, except there's a little blobby boy. Yeah. Which, granted, there's a neat thing that's going on with that too, where I guess in some forms of like the writing, Venom is multi-dimensional or something.
Well, that's the whole thing that people are hard as diamond for when it comes to fan theories, is the idea that like, oh, his last thought was gotta go find Peter Parker.
Yeah, so this blob is now going to relentlessly.
Blob is now single-minded, angry Venom, so they can do a different characterization and not copyright infringement
Depresso Venom
and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm also going to run away so that I can play games in the morning.
Do it.
Yes, please be our morning fucking energy.
You are our
spike.
coffee.
We will need
like in person form.
Awesome.
Our physical
Yes.
coffee.
Yes.
Nice tall glass of Lindsay.
Well, okay, so I have an interesting
medium glass.
A hot steaming
A nice
cup
medium glass
of Linda
Lindsay.
Wendy.
There we go.
Everybody say goodbye to Lindsay. Bye.
Goodbye to Linda Wendy.
Come join me for some morning horror.
I might be there.
Some morning
It'll be-
horse. Morning horse.
Aw. Morning horse.
If you show up,
love morning
it's a
horse.
problem.
So
my God.
so back to your question.
I'm like, do I have
Least
everything
favorite
prepared
Marvel
for
movie.
Yeah, you'll be back here in
Do I
8
have
hours.
cheese? I'm fine.
Do you have your mind?
It's hard
Never.
to
Oh,
make
okay.
a decision on what my least favorite Marvel movie is.
Yeah.
But I kind of have like a weird side thought. For
Okay.
a while, my least favorite Marvel movie.
That's like-
Hey, Lindsay, can you
That'll be-
stop doing that?
That'll be on Jeff's
Can you just
epitaph.
not do that?
I had kind of a weird
Oh,
side
that's
thought.
tough.
Yeah. What was your weird side thought?
My weird side thought is I really hated the first half of Endgame because it was not a movie. It was one half of a fucking movie. When they cliffhangered it,
I mean, that's how half of a movie usually
No,
works.
but it was like a whole movie, but it was only half a
it
movie.
was 2
I'd
hours
say
worth of we didn't finish what we started here. And that's a rule in movies. Even in Star Wars, which is a 3-part series, there is an arc that is completed in each movie. And I thought I was honestly like pissed off and a little mad at Marvel for them to be like, oh, you guys know how movies are supposed to close up a plot and maybe you have a couple of strings at the end. This one's not done. Come back in 9 months or 12 months or whatever.
I think it was a year.
And I was like, fuck.
You're talking about Infinity War?
Infinity
Yeah,
War
sorry.
into Endgame.
Yeah, the Infinity War before Endgame came out.
Endgame Part A.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
When
literally
Endgame-
before it was called
Endgame was the
Endgame,
last one I saw.
it was literally called Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2.
Oh,
at
before
first.
they named it Endgame?
Yes, when they first announced it was just Infinity War Part 1, 2018, Part 2, 2019.
It should have been Infinity War and then Infinity War : Endgame.
I mean, it was already in Avengers :
mean,
Infinity War,
the-
but
the- you do get
more
that, but,
colon.
like,
yeah. Which is already a
Should've
problem
been
with
called
Marvel anyway.
Avengers,
Everything's Infinity
Infinity
something
War,
with Thanos
New
involved.
Avengers,
Yeah.
Endgame.
Yeah.
That also does that also makes me think of the fact that I watched the first Dune movie.
Yeah.
And when it ended, I just wanted the fucking second one.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And that
My first exposure to that was The Matrix Reloaded,
And
for
it's
sure.
it's not even to
So
a
that one
po-
came out 7-8 months later, so at least that was like close.
Yeah.
But it's not even to a point where it's like, oh, I can't wait to see the next adventure, or I
Yeah.
can't wait to see what happens next. It's I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
We
okay.
haven't. It hasn't happened. The thing didn't happen.
Yeah.
We got to the emotional crux point where everything went terrible, and
Yeah.
then that was the end of the movie.
That's what happened.
I think that's the thing is like,
Yeah.
well,
So
yeah.
everything went terrible.
Yes.
I think that's the idea is that one,
It's like the
it's a
Empire
huge
Strikes
ass
Back.
cliffhanger of like, here we go. Oh fuck, the bad guy won.
It's like Hans Frozen and Carbonite.
super duper one. It's not even like, oh, he got away. It's like, he killed half the universe.
He did it.
Holy
Blue Lost
shit! He
his
actually
hand,
won.
retired out his dad.
Yeah.
He's
Right, but
he lived happily ever after.
I do appreciate for Infinity War that in many ways the structure, like the film structure of the movie, is that it's not an Avengers movie, it's a Thanos movie featuring many branching paths of the Avengers to Thanos, because the beginning and end of it are very framed around like Thanos's final like gambit, and he won and he's gonna retire and he got his good ending, and the credits roll over, dead fucking silence as you're just like, oh god,
I know movies,
shit.
I know movies are supposed to elicit an emotional response, and it doesn't always have to end happily ever after with everybody fine. But I was like, it is so clear that this is not the same story is not over. They're finishing what they started telling at the end.
It makes it so that the entire last however many hours of movie you watched is just invalidated, because all of it was, I mean,
and then they undid.
Yes, there is the
didn't
not even counting that,
really.
but like I'm just saying that there's this whole struggle, and I think why it's divisive and why people have such opinions of it is that is kind of the point, is the build up is to the payoff of like the emotional devastation and the loss, not even like,
and you,
which it also the invalidates bit is that just kind of like all of that struggle amounts to nothing, which is both like good plot point, but also can be like, so what the fuck was the point?
But like everybody was going to a movie, they weren't going to a kink party for edgelords.
I didn't want to get tantrically teased at the end of Infinity War.
So part of it is, by that point especially, Marvel obviously knew that they have as many fans as they could possibly ever need.
They're like, shut up, nerds! You're going to see the next one.
Well, I mean, not just that, but also they know that ending it in that spot is going to mean people are going to be theory crafting literally for the entire next 12 months. But like the hardcore fans are going to be like really just going nuts on how are they going to undo this, and then they tease that by having that first 10 minutes of Endgame be sort of a starting out with an epilogue to Infinity War, where it's like, fuck yeah, we found Thanos, let's go get the stones and undo this shit. And he's like, oh yeah, you can't do that. And you get the 5 years later and you're like, whoa, they lost so much harder than it seemed like they lost already.
If they had taken finding and killing Thanos, sorry everyone, spoilers, and put that on the end of the first Infinity War, I might have been a little less mad, because that is an arc complete. It's like Thanos did his job, but now we have to deal with the fallout of what he did.
I think it's an arc, so it would be a complete arc if the focus was supposed to be entirely on the Avengers. I think the fact that they were framing it around like a villain-focused movie where like Thanos is kind of getting, not like a hero's journey style thing, but like he's getting the same kind of beats that one of these characters would in their own movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so by ending
Thanos
with,
is the main character.
Yeah, he definitely was, which I didn't get the first time I saw it.
Clarifying what I was saying, that the bad guy wins in The Empire Strikes Back too, but the heroes still accomplish things during it. And like it doesn't really.
Luke loses his hand, but he gains a more realistic sense of the universe. He realizes that the Jedi aren't infallible. He's at his lowest. He goes to in a fucking back to tank.
He learns the truth about his father is maybe the most important thing there. But I would say in general that was like I recall having read, like at some point reading reviews from when that movie came out, and it was super divisive at the time. Mm-hmm. One, because Darth Vader, his father was like the crazy twist that nobody had any idea about, including allegedly like a bunch of the people who were in the movie.
Most people on set apparently, except for like Mark Hamill, George Lucas, like a few select others.
Yeah, because otherwise the person who was in the suit, whose name escapes me,
David Prowse,
like, because I think he delivered the lines, and then they would obviously overdub with James Earl Jones, said like, "I killed your father," because that's a believable enough twist of like, your father didn't just die, I fucking killed him.
Yeah.
And then the added twist of like, oh, it's even more than that when the actual movie comes out.
That's impossible.
But like, so the movie was also kind of divisive at the time because there was virtually no silver lining to that like quest. He learned the truth about his dad, but otherwise that was like complete L's across the board for the I was gonna say Resistance, Rebellion. I get them so mixed up. Oh yeah, Rebellion.
The Resistance Alliance.
It's the Rebels.
The sequel trilogy has kind of muddied my brain on that.
Yeah.
But
There is no sequel trilogy.
Saw the first one.
Rick,
they brought it flat.
yeah.
I saw the first one, was like, cool, and that was it. I like the shiny stormtrooper. I moved on.
That was the Chrome Trooper or whatever the hell it was.
Oh, yeah,
General
we didn't really get any
Fantastic.
closure
Yeah.
on her.
The fucking
Whatever her
fight
name
was so
was.
disappointing, though. She was like, "I've been built up for so long."
It was
Ow!
over in seconds, and it's like,
Yeah.
really?
Now
Whoa.
she's burnt up to a fucking crisp.
General
Yeah.
Fantastic
The
went
end.
down.
Phasma. That's what it was.
Captain
yeah.
Phasma, yeah.
But so when
was
it comes
close.
to Endgame, I mean, I like most, not
Thank you,
all,
Crane.
Marvel movies. The Eternals was easily like the worst one that I've seen. Eternals and Black Widow were both, in my opinion, really bad.
I've not seen
I
any
like
since
Black
Endgame.
Widow.
Yeah, so now we can move
Black
on.
Widow would have been
Who-
better like 5 years earlier.
Who
I
else has
think.
a least favorite Marvel opinion?
Yeah, Eternals. Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Really? Okay.
Not
I
as
can
good as it could
sort
have
of
been.
understand
No,
that.
I think one was
I
generally
feel
better.
like Guardians of the Galaxy was a good one. Guardians of the
really good
Galaxy 2
back-to-back.
was like
Yeah.
more of the same.
I feel like you probably need to see him back to back because honestly, my problem with
I wa-
Guardians
I watched
1 is
one before
Ronan
seeing
is
two.
like a really not developed villain.
No,
Yeah.
Ronan was
Similar
Ronan
to
was like
Malekith,
Yeah,
honestly.
Dropped him out
Yeah.
of nowhere.
yeah.
Thor: The Dark World.
And bringing
was
it back for
probably
Captain
one of my
Marvel was
least
super weird
favorites.
too. I liked
Uh,
Captain Marvel generally,
Iron
but
Man
Ronan
2
did
was
felt out
also
of
weak,
place.
but they
And-
were figuring it out still.
Yeah.
I conversely, I loved Kurt Russell in Guardians 2.
Yeah, he was
He was
great.
a great
He
But
was
the rest of the
fantastic.
movie just kind of felt like a what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like
The-
am I
The moment
really
of like
rooting for
uh,
the Guardians because they're kind of just also
yeah.
dicks in this movie.
the big like
Dude.
moment where Peter Quill finally like snaps out of his shit is one of the better scenes or moments I think in all of these movies with the whole like it's a shame I had to put
Yeah,
that
the
tumor
ego
in her
to
head
live-
and he's just instantly like what the fuck did you just say and like I just had to just like yep nope not even fucking around.
They just like, for me, Guardians of the Galaxy was always the cosmic bullshit and weirdness comic.
Yeah,
And
it's all
they-
about just
they could have leaned
Jim
more
Starlin
into
crazy
that.
shit and
my
like
my personal
Is it Jim Starlin?
Marvel take that like truly bums the
Starlin.
shit out of me is one of my growing up as a kid who was 1.5 feet taller than everyone their age. I identified personally with the Hulk, so
Yeah.
there was a little comic series they did called Planet Hulk and World War
oh
Hulk.
yeah big like
Which was a huge, massive crossover, which is
Yeah.
part of the reason why they never make it because it'd be absolute licensing nightmare.
yeah we got a
But they
teeny taste of
also-
it in Thor Ragnarok.
They used the Hulk to clean house and get rid of a whole bunch of B and C tier heroes by just kind of ripping them in half.
Yep.
And like they used that planet in when I first saw a still of Hulk in a gladiator outfit.
Yeah.
I about shit my pants.
Yeah.
I was so excited, and then I found out like Thor. Don't get me wrong, Thor Ragnarok was great.
Yeah.
But as soon as it came out, I was like, all hope is dead for World War Hulk. Because
yeah,
like
I
they've
think it's-
already used it, and like
Yeah. at
Well, you're
this point-
thinking of Planet Hulk, I think, right?
Sorry, the first one is Planet Hulk,
That's-
and then
yeah.
when he comes back, it's World War Hulk.
That's when he gets back to Earth, yeah.
And he just starts fucking angry.
You guys sent me to a fucking prison planet where I
Reader's
had to.
Yeah.
The Reader's Digest of the story is they decide Hulk is too fucking dangerous, so they try to drug him and shoot him into space to a nice planet where he can just chill.
Yep.
And of course, he
And he
finds
does not.
out, wakes up, punches his spaceship, goes through a wormhole, ends up on a gladiator planet.
Yep.
Proceeds
Becomes-
to then take over it, have
Yeah.
a family, be like, I can chill. And then the wreckage of the spacecraft crashes on his house and kills his wife and kid. So he comes back to Earth.
The
and-
Hulk gets mad about that.
Yeah.
He gets so mad, he goes back to Earth and basically rips it in half.
Yeah, it's like I'm going
Yeah.
to kill the planet.
World
now.
War Hulk is great because I think it's 4 issues, and it's just increasingly like, all right, well, who can we send to stop the Hulk from destroying things now?
Yeah.
They just keep
Hulk wins.
working
All
out.
right. Well, what's our
I mean,
next
like,
plan? And it's
Who's
like
stronger than
historically
this guy? Who's
speaking,
Don't they get up to
historically-
like what's his name, like Sentinel?
I don't know.
or,
Yeah, they go for like it's like the
dude
Juggernauts in like the X-Men crossover
I was gonna say I feel
side
like
series, which
There's
is
like
great.
some guy named like Sentinel
yeah,
or Omega
Sentry.
or Sentry. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Sentry.
they're
Then, like,
supposed to be like the Deus Ex Machina solution.
Yeah.
But then they have to send Doctor Strange, who's like, I'm going to summon every evil fucking
Yeah.
demon.
I feel like at the end of the day, the only
yes,
the
there
only
is an
characters,
animated Planet Hulk movie. It's good.
Yeah, the only characters that you realistically would be able to throw at the Hulk and have like a good chance of making it work would be like Thor, who has had some fights there before. Wolverine is like the class. I think
That's
Wolverine
the
showed up.
classic.
Wolverine literally, I think, was
Are you
introduced.
talking
in a
about
Hulk
MCU
comic,
or are you
wasn't
talking about comics?
it? Comics, I guess.
I mean,
MCU.
oh, there's a
indie,
bunch.
Things
yeah.
with magic,
Juggernaut.
and
A lot of
cosmic
magic.
powers,
Juggernaut would be another one
like,
for sure.
I mean, if Doctor Strange opens a portal into a different dimension, he's like, "Oh, I got rid of Hulk. He's in some other fucking universe
that's
now.
the
Sucks
trick,
for them."
I was gonna say, I guess like
Just
Marvel
don't get
hasn't
into
done the
war punches.
DC style thing of like Superboy Prime punches through the universe, but then I remember that we just had What If, where Ultron literally does that.
Yep.
Ultron Infinity, whatever. Oh no, Ultron Infinity is
Ultron Infinite, right?
I think so, yeah, because he had all the Infinity Stones and all of that. And he literally breaks through the walls between dimensions, fights the Watcher, and has to be trapped in a pocket universe forever.
So
That'll
CJ,
be interesting if they ever hit like the Beyonder and the Celestials and stuff. And
I
like,
think
Well,
we've already seen
well,
some
it's true.
Celestials, but
Yeah.
we're
but like
we're
one
getting
above all
Yes,
and that
Jeff?
kind of thing.
we're getting wrapped
I'm
into that
waiting.
stuff coming
yeah,
up.
the
Like,
Multiverse of Madness looks like it might literally wrap in stuff from What If, which was not expected. I figured
Yeah.
What If was going to stay in its own lane, but like the villain appears to be the Strange Supreme or whatever, like the one who
Yeah, the evil
absorbed
Strange.
all the evil shit.
It's kind
and
of a good
destroyed
way
his
to flex
universe.
potential plot points, see how people react to him, and be like, "Yeah, let's make a full
let's do
movie
some
out
like
of that."
real weird
Strange
shit and see what
Supremes in
happens.
it.
Yeah.
Looks
See how
like-
people feel about
looks
it.
like we're getting more Kang coming up. Like,
Yes, I'm
Yep.
excited for that. Oh shit, what was his name?
we're definitely getting Celestials, even though Eternals was a bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
There's-
well, so actually
there's
that
a whole Celestial
Kurt
B-plot
Russell. I
coming
mean,
in
Ego
there.
is also
that leads
Celestial
perfectly
in,
into my next question.
Yeah.
CJ, what? So I liked Eternals. I didn't love it by even any stretch of the imagination. I thought it was interesting. There were some huge flaws in it, but like, what about Eternals was like real bad for you? Was it the comic setting? Was it like the canon stuff? Was it just the movie, how it was constructed? Like, was there a specific thing that you were just like, ew, gross? Because a lot of people were like, Eternals,
it was not
boo.
universally loved.
Like, yeah, they really did not.
I was
enjoy
just
it.
not really invested in the plot. Like,
the time jumps really like chewed into.
I think it was
my
a
ability
lot to
keep up
shoehorn
with
into the
stuff.
MCU.
The-
That like, and
Sure.
I
Yeah.
granted, sure, we've already introduced magic, we've introduced aliens,
Yeah,
The pacing
now
was
you're like-
bad.
extremely.
you're
bad.
like, here's the history of the Earth, Part 1, pretty much. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, Mesopotamia.
That is a
to
much
now.
funnier movie.
yes.
yeah.
But it had the same feeling of like
And-
we're in the present, now we're in Mesopotamia.
So like the
now we're in the present,
deviants
now
were
we're in
kind of like
Babylon, and it's like,
faceless villains.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a good
bits,
point.
evil hippie.
If the
I think
hey,
that's my
thank
biggest
you. Thank you, Hippie.
1, 2, 3 bits.
issue is like because you could have had like some sort of like major deviant who cast an actor as
Sure.
as them. And I can't even think of anyone from the comics because I
They
don't
got
really read
fucking Bill
Celestials.
Skarsgård
Dude,
as the main.
As the Crow. Bill
as-
Skarsgård as the Crow.
no,
That's happening.
We're talking about
the
oh,
the
really?
big deviant guy. The evolved deviant.
the one
Oh, that was
fucking-
Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah,
wasn't
the
it?
guy
Pennywise.
who plays
Yeah,
Pennywise.
but
in the
you
new
never
movies.
fucking
and is
know.
now going to
Yeah.
play the Crow in the new Crow
Oh,
reboot.
nice.
He was a beast
Uh-oh.
made out of
Yeah,
flesh
that's
and whips.
that's a fun role to step into.
Yeah.
So I
won't
thought
talk
there were a
about
couple
that.
of great performances in that movie. Not the least of which was Angelina Jolie, especially when she was like
solid.
losing control. I was like, oh, she's going to be the villain. The deviants she's going to kill them all and then just try to kill everything else.
No, the
Yeah,
one
and then
who-
she
the one
wasn't,
who
and
was-
maybe I kind of wanted her to be.
I
one
thought
that
it was
was
going to go
basically-
that way, and it didn't.
The one that was basically Superman was like immediately upon
oh,
entering the movie.
flying
I'm like,
handsome guy?
Yeah,
Oh
it was
no,
like,
100% he's the bad guy.
Who
Yeah.
decided to kill himself by flying into the fucking sun.
what the fuck?
I was like,
I did
maybe
not,
it's just
I did
because-
not catch this movie.
sorry,
Maybe it's-
spoilers, but you
That's fine.
Maybe it's because the
Watch
boys
it
exist.
anyway,
I
it's
haven't
funny.
even watched the boys.
Yeah,
so,
The Boys
but
is
like
great.
The Boys
Homelander
is good.
vibes. I'm
Uh,
like, this guy's gonna easily be the bad guy.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the Boys TV show, maybe like you have to be able to
saying
embrace
Invincible?
the craziest, grossest parts of it if you ever want to dip your toe into the comics, just as a warning.
Oh, the
I
Boys
watched the
comics.
first episode of
Yeah.
Invincible, and I still haven't actually
Yo,
gone back to it.
Invincible is so good.
I've heard, but
I-
like, fuck me. That first one was like the ending of that episode is extremely hard.
It's
to
brutal.
watch.
It's brutal.
I would say that that's the worst of it, but I would
I've-
be lying to your face.
I've heard that it's the worst of it for a while
Yes.
at least.
Yes.
But I mean, obviously they're going to bring that shit back.
I mean,
finally.
it's Robert Kirkman's story he made before Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So like you can kind of expect that.
Yeah,
He's
that it's
on
gonna
that
go down
train.
that road.
dropped.
So what was the? So you said Eternals. Did you mention a second one?
I
that
had seen
can't
Shang-Chi.
remember?
Best
yeah,
origin
so-
story they've done in ages.
Cycling back to
Excellent
Eternals
movie.
for a second, though, I think another reason I don't like it, and it's not actually the movie's fault, is just I don't care about that property.
Wait, which one?
Eternals.
Oh, Eternals. I thought
Yeah.
you said the Turtles. I was like, we're talking about
The turtles. Yeah. No, I love those mutants. But I'll get to mutants in a second. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Eternals. I feel
Daredevil
like
season
it's a
4.
second cash grab where it's like just make the X-Men move.
Yeah.
Because it's like they did.
They're getting there.
Inhumans,
They're getting there.
They didn't do well.
Yeah.
Celestials, I was literally, as they were introducing characters, I was like, well, I don't know this person's name, so I'm going to call this one The Flash. I'm going to call this one Green Lantern. I'm going to call this one Wonder Woman.
I mean,
I'm gonna call
eventually
this one Batman.
It eventually thinned out over time, but it had a core cast of 10 people, all introduced near
and
simultaneously.
mimicking
It's like-
Justice League roles.
Yeah, and it's
basically
like-
the same archetypes.
yeah, so it was like, yeah, here's the fast one, here's the one that can fly and shoot lasers.
Right. Well, and it is kind of the point, like, that they come in these sets of archetypical
Yes.
hero types
Because
so
it's
that
easy
they
for them
can-
to slot into civilizations over time if
Right.
they have a basic. I mean, 2 of them literally have entire civilizations named after them. Ultimately, like
Oh, guys, it's no longer Rick's birthday. So,
isn't.
by the way,
Oh.
eat a dick.
Yeah.
okay.
Right, no more respect for
Second
Rick.
one I said was Guardians, which I think we already
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
covered. Yeah, we all saw Shang-Chi, and I think we all liked Shang-Chi, right?
I haven't seen it, but I really want to. I love
It's very
fucking
good.
kung fu. I love like smaller stories.
the fight scenes are really good. I was
Yeah.
worried because like Daredevil has famously good like street boxing style
Action
fight scenes, whereas
choreography.
Iron Fist had really bad choreography for like kung fu in the first season,
That
and then
wasn't great.
the second season, I think they hired the choreographer from Daredevil, and it was way better. The
Smart.
fight scenes are great. The bus fight scene is excellent.
I've seen clips from
shockingly
that.
good
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, that was the one that they took on the press junket.
Yes.
and for good reason.
For good
It's
reason.
A great
It was excellent.
fight,
There's
but
one
it's
in
not the
Scaffold.
only great fight.
Yeah, the scaffolding fight is also really creative with what is essentially a 2D space with like the teeniest bit
Yeah.
of depth to it, and they did so much with
Gives
it.
some real, like, why isn't this in a video game right now feels.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw a couple of clips from Shang-Chi, and I don't, some of you know from streams and stuff from me chatting, but I'm a huge kung fu fan, especially Hong Kong action films,
Yeah, oh,
all
yeah.
the way from like the 80s to current Hong Kong
Since you
action
were, like,
films.
12.
Yeah,
Without-
love kung fu, love
without-
Chinese
When
action.
we used to go on vacation, Jeff would find we'd like go on
DVDs.
cruises and stuff, and we'd
nice.
go to these random
like,
markets.
$1
and
kung
Jeff would
fu
walk
movie.
up to like the wall of bootleg DVDs and go to the kung fu Chinese
Nice.
section. But unfortunately, he'd get there and be like, "Own it, own it,
Seen it,
seen it, seen
yeah.
it, seen it, own it,
I
seen
gotta
it."
watch the Street
Mine,
Fighter again.
but
It just reminds me. I haven't seen that in a long time.
But seeing those clips
Rest in
from
peace, Sonny
Shang-Chi, I was like, this is so Hong Kong action.
It is.
The set piece
They-
battles.
They
and-
dig into it in a couple spots too. Like I don't want to get into how.
Yeah,
exactly,
I
but
actually
they
do want
a-
to see this movie, so no
They do an
spoilers,
excellent
please.
job of like paying homage to like old school like wire kung fu style martial arts scenes.
the wushu,
Wuxia.
yeah, like the old wuxia
Yeah.
style.
Sorry,
style
wushu is
stuff.
an actual martial art. Wuxia is the
Yeah, that
Yeah.
it means dragon, but
I,
it's for like
But they do a
Superheroes.
really good job with it. It's the best origin story I've seen in a very long time.
cool.
it was
And little dribbles of hints of things to come.
Yes.
The
I have a pretty firm-
stinger was pretty nice.
I got a pretty firm theory on how it connects to other stuff. They tease something in the end as to like, oh, maybe this connects to a thing, and they don't really present a firm answer. But now, having watched other stuff, I'm like, I'm pretty confident in where that's headed.
One thing that was
Yeah.
funny is I watched that when it came on Disney Plus, which is right after Hawkeye, I think.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
I remember seeing it and reacting to Aquafina. I was like, "Oh, so now she's Hawkeye too?"
Yeah,
Is
she
there a
actually has a
crossover
great.
there?
She has a great arc in that movie. That's the best like sidekick arc that
for
they've
someone
had.
who's not from the comics, that character's
Oh,
just
she brand new?
completely made up for the
no
movie
shit.
they're like
That was
Shang-Chi
a great addition.
hasn't really had that much success in the comic world. I think they took a huge risk
Probably, yeah.
making a
there's
movie
also
out of that character.
Between
Potentially
both-
like mix up with the Mandarin, which they've kind of pre-established in the MCU.
Yes, they
the
get into
Mandarin
how
in
that
the
works.
comics is
It's
like
very-
Totally different
I mean,
character.
totally
different.
different.
The Mandarin of the comics,
They
not
cover
related
the
to Shang-Chi either.
the misappropriation of the names.
Yes.
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
is how they sort of cover it.
that version of the Mandarin kind of flat out doesn't exist in
Mm-hmm.
the MCU. They've toyed and teased with it over the years, and there is the character who is functionally the Mandarin in here, but he's a completely different interpretation of him, and he
Yeah,
actually kind of
I mean, his
mocks
works, he's
that
still-
mythic representation.
He's still
that he's got.
ages old and he's still like a criminal empire, but
Very
The
different.
rings
Gotcha.
are very different.
Yeah, I like what they do. It feels way less hokey what they do with in this movie. The comics version is like that's some silly ass '70s shit.
Yeah,
that they're still hanging on to.
That one
Because they're like,
was
this
a
is the
little
ring of
thin.
lasers. This is the ring of dimensions.
To
Yeah.
me, it was
This
very,
is the ring of fire.
It was very
Holy
Flash
shit.
Gordon to me.
Yeah.
This is the ring of teleportation.
It was very like Flash Gordon, bald evil scientist kind of thing.
Also, this one's a tire.
Right. I didn't see Shang-Chi. I did actually see DC, not Marvel, but I saw the Suicide Squad, the new
Oh yeah,
one.
that was.
I saw
actually
that
pretty solid.
pretty
enjoyed it.
fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
The beginning was a bit of a tough one to
it
swallow.
was kind of a hoot, honestly.
Yeah,
Well,
it
they
was
ripped
great.
off
Feels a little bit
Deadpool.
like
Yeah.
the
What's that?
MCU
They just
is getting
fucking
ready
ripped
to
off
make their own
Deadpool.
Suicide
With,
Squad movie.
The
Nathan
Suicide
Fillion?
where everybody dies.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
just
yeah.
fucking
Oh.
ripped off Deadpool.
Yeah, I
I'm gonna
suppose
put
that's
together
fair.
my
The
my
X-
team
the
of
X-Force.
superheroes.
However,
X-Force, thank you.
it is called the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they should have done that in the
supposed
first
to be
movie.
the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so I
It's a miracle that Harley
There's
Quinn
only-
didn't
yeah,
die.
I
There's
but
never-
only
I
only
never
two
saw
people.
the
Only two
first
of them
one.
die in the first
I never
movie,
saw the
right?
first one.
me neither.
It's
I
the-
think only two of them die, and one of them
I have
dies
not seen
to
any
show that
DC
there's a
movies
risk.
Yeah.
since the last DC movie
can climb
I
anything.
saw was The Dark Knight Rises.
Yep.
And then I watched The Suicide Squad because it was free to me on.
I haven't seen
TV.
Peacemaker yet. I gotta check
I have
that
not
out.
seen
I've heard
the
good
new
things
Batman.
about Peacemaker.
I have too.
The Batman.
So Peter,
I
did
need
you
to see that.
Did you submit your least favorite Marvel movie?
I did not.
Or where do you have an idea?
Feels like Eternals is probably my least favorite, but I still liked it.
Okay.
Just was not a great movie.
I agree with that. I can understand that because I liked it but didn't think it was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I like it was trying to jam too much into one movie. They were trying to give 10 origin stories all at once, which
Yep.
is hard to do.
Including they added origin stories for characters who won't matter until they show up in someone else's movie entirely.
Yeah,
Like there's a
just
character
like
who doesn't get.
like Black Knight?
dropping stuff,
Yeah.
so that they can.
That was an. I knew. I went to see it before you did, and I'm like, you're gonna hear his name and instantly know.
I knew
who
he
they're
was in the
doing.
movie because
Oh,
I
okay.
saw like the cast and it's like Dane Whitman. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I know who the
All
fuck
right, fair
that is.
enough.
And then I'm watching the movie. I'm like, so is he gonna come back? Or, like,
Right,
what's-
like
and then he does.
There's a
Yes,
the
but
post
not
credit
in the
scene
end.
is
Sort of.
infuriating because it's the post credit scene that establishes we're gonna skip past like 80% of this guy's origin story. Also, here's the voice of someone who's gonna show up in their own movie soon too, and it's like, what are we doing here?
They're just trying to jump into the meat of like. What are they calling this? Phase 4? They're just
Phase
trying to
4.
jump
It's
to
a
phase
new.
6.
It's basically new Saga 2 essentially.
Yeah,
The
well-
Infinity Saga's over and they're starting a new.
It
but
also
it's like,
sucks because like
they're
some of these
risking
projects
some-
should have been in production already.
Yes,
Like,
yeah.
Well,
the
we
COVID
cast
fucked some
Blade
stuff
like
up.
3 years ago, and
They should have been.
Originally, it was gonna be Anthony Mackie. Actually,
Blade movies were fucking dope, though.
They
Yeah.
should have spread it out
It
more.
made that, like,
Eternals was.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
They're-
they need to
they're
just
at
bring Wesley
risk
Snipes in
of-
as a bad guy.
They're
or
at risk
something.
of pulling a
Oh my God.
DCEU if
Just
they keep
Blade
forcing this
Resurrection,
stuff
Blade's gone
in.
full bad.
What worked
Yeah.
great for the
Well, the-
first saga was that
Blade
they
in the
spaced it out.
multiverse
They
of
let everything
Bladeness.
breathe on its own, and then
Was
they
his whole thing,
slowly
he just
brought it
like,
together. And it's
I
like
won't
they've got,
talk.
they now have a
Silent
lived-in
the whole
universe
time.
where they can have all of these storylines exist on their own, and they can have little connections here and there, but
Yeah.
don't like start to yank everything together
Yeah, no,
until
they're-
later.
They're trying to weave them too tight together.
By the
So-
time this movie's over, we have not just the Eternals, but we also have Celestials involved. We have connections technically back to Thanos. We have connections forward to 2 other sets of movies going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like there's way too many things at play for what is a giant origin story that's already
Yeah.
overstuffed.
And X-Men might be, or mutants might be deviants.
Yeah. I still wish that my pet theory when Endgame came out was like I hope that mutants are the result of the Hulk snapping everyone back and like getting it just the littlest bit wrong, or just being gone and coming back messes with your DNA just enough that like 8% of people have a mutant factor in their
I hope they're really just hiding in
second
plain
theory,
sight, and
Ant-Man
Xavier's just
fucked
mind wiped
something
the
up.
entire
Yeah.
populace.
Quantum World.
That would be cool.
That would
I
be
love
great
that.
if they already existed and they pulled a Doctor Strange style thing. We're just, oh yeah, no one knows that we're here.
It'd be so funny to see like
Well, that'd be
scenes from
so
old movies where like
Xavier to do.
yeah.
it'd be so funny to see scenes from old Marvel movies where like Wolverine's just in the background and then he's just like, no, they got it, and then he just runs off screen like, no, we're good, we don't have to help.
There's a famous
Or the
not
Avengers
even-
show up to a bar like Wolverine with Thanos' day. It's like fuck yourself.
Yeah. There's a famous, not even like a blooper because it was like a staged thing. Like the MCU did this with, in Thor Ragnarok, they had Yondu show up at the scene where Hela kills everybody in
too.
Asgard, or kills everyone that's left in Asgard. And he just like shows up and complains and is like, because he was just on the lot for like some other shit that was going on. But when they were filming the first X-Men movie, there's a hallway shot where they all step out into the hallway, and it's like Wolverine and Cyclops and Storm, and then out in the back is Spider-Man. And he goes like, "Oh, sorry, wrong movie," and he just runs away. And they're like, Spider-Man 1 wasn't even in production yet. I'm sure they knew that they were going to be working on it, but it was just some guy.
I wish I got that reference, Epic Toe. I don't.
What is it?
Back to formula. Marvel needs to go back to formula.
Oh God, is that Otto? No, who said back to formula? It was a Spider-Man villain.
I don't know.
It was either Otto
Otto.
or Norman.
Yeah,
No, it was Norman.
It
was Norman. It was the board. The board was saying that like the experimentation shit is like getting way out of hand, and they're spending too much money. We got to go back to formula.
So that's Peter's suggestion. Did you put yours forward, or are you still thinking?
As for the worst ones, recent memory would be Black Widow and Eternals.
Okay.
Black Widow.
We've hit on Eternals, so hit me with Black Widow.
Black Widow. Two big problems with it. One, it should have come out earlier, which was the problem of Ike Perlmutter being a giant, monstrous asshole for many years. He went way out of his way to make sure Black Widow didn't happen, essentially, for like 7 years or some crazy shit. As soon as he was gone, hooray, Black Widow actually finally started moving. So one, it felt way too late for a Black Widow movie. She's already dead.
Yeah.
It's so weird to go back and just have a movie, and like it sets up Yelena Belova as a new Black Widow, but it's like it feels so forced in that way. I don't know. The other one was,
I think it's a pretty good point.
it got it in my, so I don't have like a long like thing with Taskmaster, but what they did with Taskmaster was weird as shit and did not feel satisfying, and I laughed a lot during a good portion of the scene with the actual villain of the movie, whose name escapes me because he was terrible. He has a pheromone, like he encoded all the widows that his pheromone would make them do his bidding, which is like, one is like, oh, this is so
they can't be aggressive.
Uncomfortable.
They can't be aggressive.
It's on purpose, though.
It is on purpose. Yeah, that was a deliberate choice.
I never saw this movie, so when you said all the widows, I was like, holy fuck, everyone with a dead husband.
Oh,
on his side all of a sudden.
That's how he
just
takes
a
over the
covert
world.
black
My
ops
God,
spy thing,
no, like
extrajudicial
such
kind
a
of thing.
network.
Yeah.
The only reason I didn't like what they did with Taskmaster is because they also knew that they were bringing an Echo, like,
Yeah.
and they're very similar, especially
I
with
guess
how
that's
they've
fair.
changed Taskmaster to a woman.
Yeah, Taskmaster, like, God, and
Spoilers.
there was also, but like the last thing that winds up happening is, oh, you can't do anything because of my pheromones. Like, okay, sweet, I could fucking shoot
Holds
you now.
nose. Yeah.
Instead, I do appreciate the little bit that they wrote in here where she mocks him until he flips out and punches her in the face to break her nose, which was the plan, except he didn't even manage to break her nose, and he makes fun of him for that before she breaks her own nose.
Smashes her own face. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I can appreciate that, like, the takedown of this guy who's kind of just a dude who likes to control women is like, wow, you're such a little bitch, you couldn't even break my fucking nose. I guess I'll have to do this myself.
Yeah.
I was trying to goad you into breaking my
British show
nose, but you're such a
Taskmaster is
weak
very
little.
Yeah, you're such
weakling.
this like weak
You're so
guy
weak.
that
I don't
like-
know why we were going with this option anyway. We could have just come in here with broken noses in the first place, and then
or a face mask.
Yeah.
Anything.
A gas
It's-
mask.
It's such a weird
Plug
like.
your nose.
Bizarre choice.
Yeah.
It's an olfactory lock.
As for the older
surely
ones,
impenetrable.
the first Thor is like, the Hulk movie is also I think over time I've grown to like
Which
that one
one?
more. The Incredible Hulk, not Hulk.
Which one is that?
That's the one with Ed Norton.
Not Eric Bana?
Not Eric Bana. Eric Bana is
Carry
like
on.
so bizarre of a
Strong
movie.
feelings. Carry on.
Yeah, no, same. Boy, I sure love a movie
that
where I
was my,
fight
like, childhood
lightning
hero growing up.
in the water.
That's Absorbing Man.
Yes. I mean, you can say that. It doesn't make that scene any less ridiculous.
No, that's all I had to contribute.
Hang on a
That's
sec. I just got
Absorbing
to
Man.
jump 12 miles away real quick, which is also, to be fair, a power that the Hulk has had. But Thor: The Dark World might be my least favorite of the older ones out of the
Yeah.
Infinity Saga.
Yeah,
with you on that.
that was. Yeah, Saint Malekith and
Complete
Ronan.
waste of Malekith.
I'll be real. The main reason I choose that one is because I know for a fact I saw it 2 individual times.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the fuck happens.
Yeah.
I could tell you a basic
so
plot
weird.
outline. You could probably tell me the name of the villain. I'd go, oh, okay, and I could give you a basic.
So
plot
there's a
outline
stone-
to every Marvel
The Ninth
movie
Doctor as an evil alien.
up to like Endgame, but Dark World, I know for a fact I saw it twice, start to finish, and not like it's on and I'm talking something. Like I watched it
Yeah.
twice. I don't remember fucking.
I
So
remember
there's a
the-
stone that's actually like a putty, and he gets all over Natalie Portman.
It looks in a lot of ways like just a
Does it
red
continue?
version of the Venom symbiote, just hovering in 0G.
And so
Putty covered Natalie Portman.
So
Continue.
Thor
Yeah.
This is a good movie. we're
wants to
making
forgive
so far.
Loki, and he does, but then Loki stabs him in the back again.
Yelena Belova is
Classic,
the new Black
classic
Widow,
comedy
yeah.
duo move.
And oh yeah, one of the doctors is in the
Christopher
movie as the
Eccleston.
villain. I don't think he has any lines.
Eccleston. Yeah.
Eccleston has lines.
Does he?
all really low. and
Barely.
they're pitched down, which sounds really bad the way they did
Oh,
it.
great.
Malekith in the comics is so much fun.
He's very
very
Loki-ish
violent.
Yeah.
In
And
but-
in Loki-ish,
Yeah.
but more violent.
yes, they
Iron Man
went
2 is a
completely the
strong
opposite
contender
direction with
also.
this version of the
Yeah.
character, where he's very like stone and
Like
stoic
recently in
and
the comics,
angry, but
Malekith was actually the main villain in the most recent Jason Aaron Thor comic run that
Yeah.
was going on for like 5 years. It
the
wrapped
Mighty
up.
Thor or
Yeah, Mighty Thor. It was
Yeah.
when Jane Foster got the thing, but
Yeah.
so Malekith would just walk around with Thor's arm, like on a rope around his neck because he cut off Thor's arm,
yeah.
and Thor had it replaced with like a
It didn't
uru.
like shrink down to be
Baby size.
Little baby arm.
Dr. Banner's
No, it
arm.
says Guardian arm, so it doesn't decay. It just stays
Oh,
intact.
God.
Oh, it's Thor's, not Hulk's.
Oh, sorry, Thor.
Yeah.
Thor, not Hulk.
So-
Like mine probably, which is like very quick, because it really was gonna be Thor: Dark World.
Yeah.
If not that, probably the second Iron Man. But I more give them
Iron
a
Man 2
pass
is-
because they were figuring it out
Yeah.
still.
See,
Like,
I love
biggest-
Iron Man as a hero so much that
Yeah,
like
it's
I
just
love
the-
every Iron Man movie. I know there's faults, but I can't not see them
The
because
biggest-
Iron Man's my favorite superhero.
The biggest
period.
fault with Iron Man 2 is that they tried to stick too close to the formula for the first one instead of really diving into the demon in a bottle situation and making that like really
that's
a
what
big
I
part
wanted
of the.
was I wanted the scene
There were cut
where
scenes
Tony
that
Stark
have more to do with it.
is flying the Iron Man suit shit face and
Yeah.
wrecks the San Francisco Bridge. Like
They had scenes where they had scenes that were filmed in some cases
they
and some
kind
that
of
weren't. But
alluded
like
to it in the third, where he they replaced rampant alcoholism with panic
horrible
attacks.
PTSD. Yeah. Which they did that one really well with that, where it's just like normal day, normal. Fuck, like just.
Yeah.
The him with Rhodes at the like little roadside diner situation was like, whew, that was a rough
Three
scene there.
might have even been worse than 2, honestly. Now, thinking back on
I know
it.
most folks don't like 3. I love 3, but I also am a big fan of Shane Black's. Like it reminds me of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and of Lethal Weapon and stuff like that too, where it's
Favorite
like that
line.
same
Bring back
kind
Jeff
of like
Bridges.
buddy
It's
cop
my
kinda
favorite line in the whole
vibe. The quipping was it was a different flavor from Iron Man 1 in a lot of ways too, which I get that it's not everyone's thing. My
What if season 2
monthly
needs to
recommendation,
have-
if you haven't
what
seen
if
Kiss
Obadiah Stane
Bang
was Iron
Bang,
Man?
go read it, go watch
Get
it.
Jeff Bridges' voice.
Go read
Robert,
it.
yeah, Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer. So you get Batman and Iron Man together as a detective and a writer trying to solve
Trying
a
to make out and
twisted
shoot
mystery.
people.
Now I have one question about your submission of Black Widow.
Oh, me? Yeah.
Yes, I liked Black Widow. I didn't love it, same as some of these other ones, but I respected it a lot more because the
Red Guardian, the breakout character of that movie.
Oh
by the
God,
way.
Red Guardian was
Holy shit.
fucking. I love David, whatever his name
Harbour.
is.
Harbor.
Thank you.
So good.
That was such a good character.
I hope they find excuse
I
to bring it
loved
back.
how small the story they told in Black Widow was.
It was very
It
focused.
was world affecting because
Yeah.
yes, they can affect everybody because there's widows everywhere and they can mess with governments and
Yeah.
stuff. But it wasn't like, oh no, aliens are going to destroy time.
Yeah.
It was like
it was
there's
nice that they could slip it into that time frame. Like, oh, this is like right after Civil War, but it's self-contained.
yes,
Yeah,
it was
very
a small
tightly wound,
story.
yeah.
They were able to take time to have Black Widow sit down with her estranged family and have an awkward dinner. They didn't have
Yeah.
to be like, yo, we can't have dinner because time is destroyed.
Yeah, they're
Well,
like,
that-
we can't move out till the morning, so
Yeah.
That's also all the ensemble movies and all the team up movies. Is you get
You got to have
it's
a dinner
trade-offs.
scene.
You get the pros of the interactions between them and the quips and the humor
Thank
and
you,
the
Epic
talk.
Toe. I'll take that.
You get the cons of there's 7 characters that have their own backstories in 3 movies apiece, setting them up so each one gets 6 minutes of screen time and we move on.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
because all you
Yeah.
need is that little like node of like, yep, here's how they're involved.
every
Here's how that
movie is
history
kinda
builds
turning
in.
into a
And
massive
then,
team
and
up.
like
Yes,
you know,
and that is one of my biggest problems with the Star Wars newest trilogy is that they forgot that Star Wars originally was very small stories. There was a lot going on,
was
but
a
it was
serial.
focused on Luke. There were
Yeah.
scenes where they were just fucking flying through space because they had 20 hours to kill and they
we
were
got a
chatting.
Yeah.
yeah.
And like, you know, they
Oh.
get to a seedy bar and they go sit down, you get a little
to
atmosphere and
Peru.
stuff.
Like, what's the next movie we're getting that's not going to be like a
Hello.
massive?
Hello out in
Because like
Peru.
we
Hey,
just
how
had
you doing?
Spider-Man,
Hope you're having a good weekend.
and
Welcome.
Eternals was not the traditional massive team up movie, but it was a ensemble.
still big
cast.
ensemble cast.
Spider-Man was a massive team up. Doctor Strange is going to be a massive
Oh,
team
yeah.
up.
Yep.
I think the next chance that we're going to
Then we're
have
getting Thor, which is also
Thor might be Thor is at
the
least
Guardians might be in it.
Thor and the Guardians, I believe, have been confirmed that they're going to be in each other's movie.
So team up.
Yeah.
Maybe not a team up. I think James Gunn was saying that they're not really going to be like
A
involved the
flyby?
whole way. It's going to be like a quick kind of. I think they're essentially.
Um,
I would love if the two movies essentially had a little cross point of like interacting with each other in a way we don't see in full until the
So
other
you
movie.
maybe
Black
get
Panther
the full
2
story
might not
from
even
both
come out.
of them.
Be cool.
There's a different mechanic.
Very
to
much
the
like
game.
the comic books.
Shadow thing.
Yeah.
The Guardians were a team and operated as such. The
Yeah.
Avengers were like, we need you because you're powerful. We need you because your abilities here. We need this. It was like they came together because they had to. The Guardians were doing literal space jobs.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, yo, we need you to transport this dangerous thing,
mean,
or
they're-
this
the
alien's
next-
shitty.
They're
The
a
next-
Get
daily
'em.
working crew. Like the Avengers is like you picked your super team to win the championship that year
Yes.
in sports.
The
Like
The idea of the Avengers in less in the comics because they kind of are a. It seems like in the comics they're kind of a
being here,
recurring-
James Games.
they're pretty mid tier as far as Oh No
Peace out.
World's Ending goes.
Right. They're essentially like the world cops of like, okay, who do we need for like a regular grade? Oh shit, something's going
they're
down.
the supervisors. They ain't the manager though.
Yeah, when
Like,
shit goes super sideways, there's folks above them that you'd be like, we need like some real.
I'm
big
pretty
guns
certain
here.
if Sentry coughed, half the city would just
No.
evaporate.
I think the idea that they're trying to lean into, well, for one, the Avengers as we knew them in the Infinity Saga are kind of gone. Like, there's a shell of it left. Like the Hulk.
They left a tower behind.
I mean,
Technically.
sort of. I guess they sold that tower. I think it's going to be the Baxter Building. It's got to be at this point. Like, somebody
That's all I
bought
can
it.
think of. Yeah.
Oh, you guys heard the Poyo, but we didn't see it. Yeah, there was a follow.
Oh.
Thank you, whoever followed us. I'm not sure if it.
We missed it. We
shows
can't.
up
We
here.
can't hear it right now with the way that this is set up. I don't know why. We could hear stuff before. We're gonna try to fix that later. But.
They heard it. It's on stream only, not monitor.
Thank you very much.
Gracias, pobres gamers.
Gracias. Muchas gracias. Oh no, let's forget. The Avengers, as they were in the Infinity Saga, were kind of like, here's if shit is going super wrong, the Avengers are you guys to go to. But like the Avengers at this point are a less organized cluster of people. And I think the idea that they're trying to get into at this point is like that the Avengers aren't like that they can't protect everybody at this point anymore.
That's
'cause
worth
most of them are gone.
interjecting for.
Sure, what's up?
What'd you find?
699 followers.
Yeah,
We're one away from
One away from
700.
700.
You could be the 700th follower. You
Be
person
lucky
who isn't
numbers
Person
following
who's
but is
watching
watching.
and chilling and enjoying.
Okay,
Costs
so
you nothing,
But yeah,
and it's greatly
Tony's
appreciated.
gone. Nat's gone. Thor is having an existential crisis and is the off-world Avenger to
he's
start
got
with.
stuff to do. Yeah.
Hulk's got a broken arm, and Hawkeye is basically retired.
Yeah, for like the 5th time, he's like, "Please stop calling me. I want to go away now."
I'm so done with this.
Yeah.
I don't want to shoot any more arrows.
Right. We got Bruce, and we have and Steve is also retired / questionably. I think he's just retired
think
and
he's on the moon.
secretly old. He might be on the moon. He might be hanging out with Nick
Fury.
Yeah.
So
But like the classic Avengers are gone, so now I feel like the theme they're going with is like everyone who's left is kind of trying to figure out what they do.
Well, they're setting
now.
up the young Avengers.
How do you
too.
feel
We've
the
got Wanda's kids? We've got Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop and Yelena.
how do you walk in the footsteps of giants?
Yep.
They-
Riri Williams is going to be in there soon.
Riri
greatest
Williams,
superheroes ever known.
Miss
How
America.
do you? How
Yeah.
does the next generation live up to him?
Yep. And that's a pretty common. I mean, every comic book and comic book inspired thing eventually does their what's the next generation of thing, like a handoff or whatever, where it's like, okay, but who comes next to take the mantle when the time comes? Because everyone's going to retire or die at some point.
This is a perfect segue to once again say you all should watch Invincible.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say more than that. It's a hard show to recommend because in order for me to give you a full recommendation,
if you were sensitive to
spoil,
violence and stuff, then
like very much a cartoon made for adults. It's very violent.
Yes.
But the first episode kind of lulls you into a false sense of security. I had a friend who turned it off halfway, convinced him to give it another try.
Wow.
He finished the whole episode and then proceeded to binge watch the whole thing.
Yeah, you definitely need to watch the whole first episode.
Roberto then bought the omnibus of like all 500 comics.
That's so funny. I believe that.
It's one of those where you can't really give a good description of it without spoiling a lot of the reasons to watch it, which makes it a tough sell. But like that whole idea of like the handoff and the evolution and responsibility of the generations of superheroes and stuff is it's real good.
So there's definitely,
if you have an Amazon Prime subscription,
I think it's
you
free.
can give us a free sub, and also you can watch Invincible on Amazon Prime.
I've read the synopsis because there was a point where I was like, I don't even know if I'm ever going to watch this just because it is so much. I'm curious where it goes with this, and it's like,
oh my dude,
a lot of
there
definitely seems to be
is basically outside of an 8-second clip that I can think of. If I say the word Subway, everyone who's seen it will know what I'm talking about.
Oh God, Subway gives me
like
flashbacks to other shows too.
It's not quite eating fresh.
No, House of Cards. I still feel uneasy in subway platforms because of that show.
Oh God says Epic Toady, so they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But like outside of the opening episode, which has a good amount of gore and violence to it, like there's maybe one other moment that comes close to that, but it is so worth watching.
Yeah,
it is. It's very good. I could go
so as we approach 12:30, we should probably close the discussion down. Do you want to
wrap this up?
Do you want to dismount with like what do we hope for Marvel movies to embrace in the future as we move into this next phase?
The X-Men.
I would like to see them.
Real quick, good answer.
I would like to see them phase in the X-Men without relying on Professor X and Magneto and Wolverine, and I would like to see them fold the Fantastic Four in without immediately going to Doctor Doom again. I would like Doctor Doom to be a Black Panther villain, though obviously that's tougher now. But Namor and Doctor Doom both deserve to be Wakanda.
I think Wolverine gets his own movie. The X-Men get a movie without Wolverine, and Wolverine gets
Wolverine
his own
can't
movie.
be first. Wolverine has got to be further out than that. We can't open with Wolverine.
My unacceptable answer is retcon everything and give me a proper Planet Hulk World War Hulk combo.
That's again.
They could shift that.
They could still do that.
I mean, they still. If Marvel What If is a fucking thing, if they're flaunting a Marvel Zombies movie,
it's true.
Give
Anything's
me a
possible
World War
now.
Hulk where he can rip people in half, and you don't have to care about your continuity.
They could hypothetically Planet She-Hulk it too. Like we're about to introduce that character as well.
But like if not that, then I think more singular contained stories. So because the biggest reason for me is I stopped watching around Endgame. Like that's kind of where I fell off, and even then I didn't see them as they came out. I like waited, and then I'd watch like a couple of them in a weekend. And then I have like my girlfriend has not really seen any of them, and we've watched a couple. We've seen like Guardians of the Galaxy and watched one-offs here and there.
Yeah,
but it's the same as if you go to watch Spider-Man No Way Home without having seen all the ones leading up to it. It's still a great movie. It lacks a lot of the emotional investment and impact. So to be like,
I like that movie. But
hey,
they
Jenny, do you want to go watch this new Marvel movie? And she'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, okay, we have 39 hours of movies to watch leading up to this weekend.
Well, I mean, not a lot of things have happened since Endgame.
It's true, but even just getting to Endgame is a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Getting to Endgame is tough. You could arguably get by with like
6
the Avengers movies.
I would watch the Iron Man movies.
I think
the
it's
Avengers
11.
movies.
Yeah,
11.
Like you can just pick and choose, but like for me, having more.
I want to know what's going on.
Not even things
before.
that are like entry points, because there's only so many heroes and origin stories you can do before you start getting a fucking Blue Beetle or something, and like
which they're working on.
I know, that's why I'm saying it. I'm
a little excited for
best, but like having more stories that are like, look, we all know how fucking Spider-Man came to be. At this point, everyone knows the general gist of Iron Man. Like, take your pick on any given archetypical hero that's had at least 1 to 3 solo movies, let alone 17 crossover cameo appearances, and give us a cool story using them that isn't an origin story, and just have it be, here's the start, here's the middle, here's the finish in one movie.
So I will say Shang-Chi is really good for that. They did a really good job
but
that's why I gotta
again,
see it.
But
so
I wanna see them
barely
pull it off without it
Hawkeye's
being an origin
good
story.
like that too, but it's a show, not a movie. But
The origin
Yeah.
story gives you a gimme because you have a start. And usually whatever thing got them popular enough to be a movie is enough of a banger that you should have a start, middle, end of your origin story movie that's pretty good. Otherwise, why are you making it? What's the point?
So that is
think
a perfect place to transition to my opinion on what I would like to see in Marvel movies is like you said, the smaller stories, non-origin things. What I would like to see are the
I suppose self-contained is a better phrase.
The
than
Marvels,
sure, yeah.
the Marvels may be the first real shot for that in the upcoming stuff.
I want to see, Ohio's best superhero. I want to see small town
so the,
Ohio.
Great Lakes Avengers.
Ohio
yeah, Great
man.
Lakes Avengers is exactly what I was thinking of.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. But I want to see Peru's
the 50 State
strongest
Initiative, is that what it was called in the
small
comics?
town superhero kind of thing. Like I don't need a
no, the Great
universe
Lakes Avengers is
story.
from before that.
Was it? I know they were.
They
before
were
that,
originally
but
the
then
Great Lakes
eventually-
X-Men.
Yeah, I want
Squirrel Girl.
They kept changing their name.
Daredevil
Yeah.
International.
Yeah, I don't mind having smaller stories, lower stakes that aren't
Batman did one of
universal.
those.
I like the interesting character stories that come with superhero movies. And like
Yeah.
you said, it's a good point. It doesn't have to be an origin story.
you
Just
can
come in
have-
where Ohio man is beating up like criminal thugs, just people who are trying to
You also can
traffic
have-
humans or something.
You can
Fuck
have
them up.
things be very high stakes without it being a world-ending scenario.
Yeah.
It can be
Spider-Man:
personally
Homecoming was
relevant
really
and high
solid for a
stake.
lot of those points. For
Like,
sure.
but you
Yeah.
can have something if you set it up. The situation can be very high stakes for that person and individual,
Yeah.
and because the audience empathizes with the character, it's high stakes for them.
I mean, all
With-
three Spider-Man
without it
movies
being
really
like,
tick
To respond
"Oops,
to
all death
Siren's
on the
point,
world."
I think Spider-Man freshman year is going to be kind of that. Like it's a freshly bitten. Like he might not even be bitten at the start of the show. Peter Parker dealing with like basic shit.
We were getting another starting of Peter Parker.
Yeah, we're getting an animated prequel.
Sweet fuck. This is what I mean. We all know where Spider-Man came from.
Just so they can give us all the villains that they're not going to fit
Yeah,
into the
all
movies.
the
Like,
it's
here's
an
Rhino,
easy way
here's
to do
Chameleon.
Monster of the Week style like C grade villains
Yeah.
that they just want to fuck around.
And I
with.
mean, Batman is a great example of this because Batman's not anything particularly special and doesn't really fight world-ending
no, he's
things
just
that
extremely
often.
dedicated
A
and
nocturnal
very, very rich.
gentleman.
He defends a strong nocturnal gentleman.
Actually, Gotham City is Batman's world.
The whole thing. But like, yeah, just a defender of a city, a smaller, self-contained things. He calls up the Avengers and says, "I need help with these people who are trafficking humans," and they say, "That's real tough, but we can't spare anyone, bud. You got to take
think-
care of it." And it, Ohio man is
I like
like,
how you
"Oh
went
God."
Batman to the Avengers to Ohio Man.
I think what you're ultimately looking for is essentially a continuation of the Defenders within the MCU proper, because that's kind of
Yeah.
their bread and butter is like legit, real,
like the Luke Cage.
realistic usually.
Yeah. Daredevil
Threats.
jumped to
Daredevil.
Or like low Daredevil especially is like very like ground
Ant-Man.
floor.
Don't go to that one neighborhood.
that's true,
He'll
yeah.
come get
Yeah,
you.
Hell's Kitchen is
He'll
a
fucking
fucked up
get you.
place.
He'll fucking come get you in that one place.
All right, well, so I think Peter's the only one we haven't heard from, and then we should wrap up.
What were we?
Your desire to see what will Marvel embrace in the future to make their movies good, and what do you want to see personally?
No, I mean, it's just more of the same. I want to see some of the small stories. I think that we can't get away from the fact that we're going to need origin stories because we
That's
are
how
not
narratives
paying $1
work.
million per movie for the actors who have gotten all the way to being worth $1 million a movie.
Sure.
So, we
That's
have to
probably
get
on
some
the
new
low end.
characters, so we have to have some origin stories because otherwise, why the hell am I watching this movie?
Yeah.
Because I am not the guy who read comics as a kid, and I
Same.
don't know any of the Marvel lore from behind this. I like the characters; they're
Yeah.
interesting. I know some about them, but I'm not like, oh yeah, I remember in issue 17. I had the limited edition cover, and like there was a misprint, and like that text bubble. It was that was
We
so
just
funny.
we just need different origin stories because so
a
many
lot
times.
of it is formulaic.
Oh,
It's like, oh, like Spider-Man's uncle died. Oh, Batman's parents died. Oh, Iron Man's friend Yinsen died.
Yeah.
Or
I think
space
that's the-
laser.
I think that's the thing.
We
for
need
me
some
is,
other
like,
call to action,
yeah,
not
you- obviously you have to have origin stories, and like a lot of times they tend to be the better ones, but it's the follow-up movies or the 5 years later we're rebooting the character. I think when you mentioned the Spider-Man movies recently, they were pretty good for just picking up and being like, okay, so he's Spider-Man, cool, let's move on.
That was the real benefit of both Black Panther and Spider-Man showing up for the first time in Civil War, was that we got the most basic, here's your character, here's his shit, out of the way. Like, there was still a decent amount of, like, setup in Black Panther because we had to see Wakanda for the first time. But, like, both movies pretty much were like, well, this character is kind of established now, so we can just jump right in. And there was a conscious choice for Spider-Man. Is like, everybody knows Spider-Man. Everyone knows his deal. Bit by spider, Uncle Ben's dead.
Well, Black Panther benefits from, he doesn't really have an origin. He's just, his origin was he was born.
Yeah,
His
he was there.
origin is I inherited this. It's a family
Well,
line.
and
thing.
to get back to CJ's point, which is a really
Line
interesting one, I just thought of it. What a great, way to have an origin story without having to do a whole lot of fucking footwork is the mutant factor. Some dude in
Once it's
Ohio,
established.
yes, once it's
That's the thing,
established
they
in the
still have
MCU
to-
is fine.
The mutant factor needs an origin story.
But once we know mutants exist, then a person who's never been to Xavier's school just has powers, but has kind of kept him on the
and
down
I'm
low,
sure
but
they
then
will
has to
introduce
step
people
up.
like that
Yeah,
eventually.
you don't have to do 20 years of their backstory of how they got their powers. They just developed them and they hid them, and that was it.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
that's a great way to
Oh
do
yeah,
it.
and what's really interesting to me is apparently Ms. Marvel is not going to be in Inhuman, which I'm not surprised because they haven't mentioned Inhumans.
You
but
know, Inhumans is like their
her powers are different
dirty little
too
secret.
because maybe they were too close to Mr. Fantastic.
I have heard some thoughts. Yeah, some folks are saying it was too close to Mr. Fantastic with just stretchy skin. The other one is that they might be doing a thing where at the beginning she makes her stuff look flashier and stuff, so it looks like more like woo. But in the end, she's like, I don't really care if people think it's weird, and like is more of a skin thing. I don't know.
We'll see.
But we should probably bring
Wrap
this
this
thing
up.
to a close.
Great discussion, though. I
Everyone
enjoyed
in
it.
Chat, we asked our dad, editor Rick, and he said we could have a sleepover.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stay up all night playing fucking Halo.
You guys were good, so we can have a sleepover.
You're not my dad. I said I asked editor Rick. You're Rick.
You're playing Halo.
Oh yeah,
Editor Rick.
I'm
is the
going
one
to
I
be
yell
editor
at.
Rick.
Legendary
Oh, you know him?
yeah, I do.
You're a friend of my dad's.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We're co-op,
And he said that you guys were good.
I brought
So,
my pajamas.
You guys can throw on your pajamas. You can play some Halo. You can have some wings.
Yes.
And yeah, you guys you can have a sleepover tonight.
Chat,
you can
you-
invite a couple friends.
Yes. Computer come?
Computer can come.
Oh, yes.
I'm already here.
Oh, good.
Oh, they said
He's,
computer come. I'm like, that's a weird way of phrasing it.
Rick, wait, computer come?
Here's a really
Is that anything?
You said
I
chat
mean-
can come, so that counts for
Chat
like.
can come. Chat can come.
Okay.
After like 30.
If any of you watching have an Alexa device, I'm sorry for activating it right now. But
Uh-oh.
if it responds to the name computer instead, you can
Oh.
also say
Oh,
Peter,
no.
and it will hear it sometimes.
That's funny.
Ooh, interesting.
And
annoying.
also, it will chirp up every time you watch Star Trek.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Zim. I appreciate. There we go. I appreciate
So-
that I'm not the only one.
Thank you, everybody, for being here for Deep Pat After Dark. This was a lot of fun, Rick. I
Yeah.
think it was a great idea just to have like a open chat kind of thing.
Yeah, it was good to get
Cold
back into
call.
this.
You're
I don't
welcome.
know how often we're going to be doing these. It might be once a month kind of
Sometimes.
deal. It might be once every other week. It
Sure.
could be on an
Yeah.
irregular schedule as we feel it out. But
Sure.
Could also be.
It'll also be probably mostly
an
remote. Like-
off week of the multiplayer Sunday.
Exactly.
streams.
The,
Yeah,
so
the
then-
D-pad After Dark will come like a solar storm. You'll hear about it a couple of days beforehand.
once
and you
every
might
11
see it.
years. Why didn't we lean into that? The solar winds every 11 years. That would have been a
mean,
thing to lean into.
I
It's like the
suppose
only
we
thing
could
that's
have
on an
talked about
11-year
the solar
cycle.
cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, it will.
We do
it
have
will
some like
likely be
stars and moon and
continuing,
stuff. It all
remote.
ties together.
Quick, Rick, pause the whole
Yeah.
24-hour
Yeah,
stream.
I'm
so
just
we can
gonna edit
rework
all of our
the-
logos.
Thank you.
I'll do a new hype trailer. It'll
Yep.
be great.
Radar
Yeah.
knows what I'm talking
So-
about. Mountain Dew Code Red.
Yes. So to
Yeah.
give you guys an idea of what we're doing what we're up to next, Dave and I are going to be playing through Halo 2 Anniversary, front
Yep.
to back, legendary co-op, just like we did when we were
explain the rules now. or
wee
wait till
little
we start?
chillins.
I'd
No,
say
we'll
wait
do
till
it
you
at the
guys get
beginning
in
of the
there.
stream.
It'll be good, like
So
early.
stick around. It should be fun.
Guys are gonna die a lot.
We're going to do two things. We're going to take a good 15-minute break, eat some food, get some fluids in us so we keep hydrated. And we're gonna change into some motherfucking PJs. 'cause
Yeah. I
brought my
is,
pajamas.
This is a sleepover, and we're doing it up right.
I
so.
also brought my pajamas, but that's just because I don't like wearing jeans for 24 hours.
That's
yeah,
fair.
that's the.
Fair.
I'm in comfy sweatpants right now. I thought about jeans for the start. I might do it tomorrow, but we'll see. I don't know.
So yeah, stick around,
magicians,
everyone.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys very much for coming. We'll see you next time on D-Pad After Dark. Woo! Bye.